Could be, Ryan. Could be.
Let's hope.
We know they have one team in the Final Four. That I can assure you of. Well, they're the best one of the bunch, though, Ryan. You know it. That's the part.
Is it playing?
Top of the morning to you on this Friday, the final one of March. We hope your week has gone well. Let's end it in style, shall we? How the heck are you, Miller and Moulton? MillerandMoulton.com, Miller_Moulton. On X, jam-packed show for you. Talk hoops with Jason Carmello, football with Pat Kirwan, Marlins and baseball with Kyle Sielaff. Top of the morning to you, Mark. How are you?
I'm doing good, David. Good night. Good day of sports yesterday, all the way through. If you're a baseball fan, hopefully your team got off to a good start and won. I'm a hockey guy, so the college hockey was pretty good during the day, and then certainly the early window of the hoop delivered and then some. Purdue and Texas, terrific game, buzzer beater, if you will, or bucket at the buzzer to win the game. And, well, we saw something in Nebraska and Iowa, David, that I don't think I've ever seen before. You may have. You covered a lot of basketball, and not to be rotten, you covered lower levels of basketball. So maybe somewhere at a lower level of basketball, a team mistakenly put 4 players on the court instead of 5. But in all the years I've watched hoop, the NBA, the NCAA, my 8th grade team at St. Peter and Paul Elementary, David, I don't ever recall 4 guys being on the court when there were supposed to be 5. This was not Hoosiers. This was not sitting out someone and playing with 4. I've never seen it, David.
Me neither. And I've done a lot of basketball. I've seen 6 on a few occasions. The most surprising thing to me, Mark, was that it happened coming out of a timeout. Shocking that it happened coming out of a timeout. I mean, difficult to believe. I mean, really. So, and the head coach has fallen on the sword, and he should. Okay, he should. Whether some players screwed up or not. Don't know how you didn't notice it. I'll be honest. I was shocked it took the announcers as long as it did. Stan Van Gundy was finally the one that said, I think they only had 4. Okay, I'm surprised they didn't notice it right away. Okay. I mean, granted, it's part of my job in football, but I literally count 11 on each side before every snap. And in doing basketball, I mean, it's real easy to tell. I mean, it just is. There's only 10 guys on the floor. And all of a sudden, if there's 9, it's like, wait a minute, where's so-and-so? And how come he's so wide open? I was stunned, absolutely stunned. And, were they going to win the game? Hell, they're only down 3 with a minute to play. I mean, they get a stop. They have a chance to tie. They led most of the game. I mean, Iowa only took their first lead with like 2:15 to go. So, it's a shame that the best team maybe in Nebraska history has their season end that way. Meanwhile, the Big Ten Invitational rolls along And we got a team in the Elite Eight, Mark, that hasn't been there since the Reagan administration in them Hawkeyes.
Well, and the late games didn't deliver with the same punch that the early games did. In fact, I'm not sure that Houston and Illinois could have punched their way out of a paper bag in the first half of that game.
I was pretty
Arizona
brutal.
scored 8 more points in the first half than the combined score of the Illinois-Houston game.
Mark,
Arizona had 54 points at the half. There were 46 points scored in the first half of Illinois-Houston.
Arizona,
46, David.
and they almost outscored Illinois and Houston for the whole game as it was, because Illinois and Houston combined for $120, and Arizona put up a smooth 109.
So Zona looked like the team really that we thought they were all year long. Arkansas, one of the hotter teams coming into March, and had a player that could carry them, but Arizona is a complete team. And I think for a lot of us, and I'm guilty of it too, I didn't watch a ton of Arizona. Games start late. They're just I watched the stretch when they played 4 or 5 good teams in a row. That was as much Arizona as I watched all year. So they were a bit of an enigma to me, although I knew just from reading and paying attention and highlights that this was a really good team. Michigan and Arizona, for the majority of the season, were head and shoulders above the rest of college basketball. I think really up until the point, David, when Duke beat Michigan, we thought Michigan and Arizona were the elite teams. And then Duke did what they did to Michigan late in the year in that neutral site game, and we said, okay, there's 3. But
And Arizona and Michigan scheduled to face one another in the semis. If they can get there, we're still a long ways from that. But a Big Ten team assured of getting to the Final Four, since it'll be Iowa against Illinois in a region final. A little 3-9 action. I like it.
yeah, the seeding doesn't matter much to me. I think it's, incredible that Iowa and Nebraska that's a big rivalry. They don't like one another. I happen to have quite a few friends who are Iowa guys that I play golf with, a couple that are Illinois guys. They don't seemingly like one another that well either. So Iowa playing 2, kind of rivals, if you will, particularly in hoop with Illinois and Iowa. That doesn't happen every day in the tournament. So Illinois to win the way they did yesterday impressed me, David.
Agreed.
Because Houston wants to play a rock fight. I've got a good friend who's an Illinois fan, Illinois grad, and he and I were texting. He goes, I think we're going to get our doors blown off. I'm like, no, they can't blow anybody doors off. They play close rock fight games. That's what they do. And Illinois was able to withstand the punches. And it was ugly. It was not a lot of fun to watch. Aesthetically, it wasn't pleasing. But the Illini get it done in Houston against Houston, and now move to the region final against, I guess, what's this year's Cinderella, right? I mean, Iowa's the Cinderella. I know they're a Big Ten team. I know they're a 9 seed, but that's the Cinderella, right?
Yes, because if they were to get to the Final Four, they would be the highest seeded Big Ten team to ever get there. Wisconsin, the one year, got there as an 8. Back in the day, I think it was 2000. But yeah, also Illinois winning in a way in which their coach said 2/3 of the way through the season he wasn't sure they could win that way, that they weren't doing the things necessary to be able to win close, tight, tough games. Well, here they are. So it is the beauty of the tournament. We talked about it. Some teams who don't play defense during the regular season because, let's face it, they're not given the effort that they're going to give in the tournament. Now, in Arkansas's case, they just can't play defense. In Illinois' case, turns out they could. They just chose not to most of the time during the regular season. They'd rather roll the balls out and have some fun. But at the end of the year, the Illini players got together and said, guess we're going to have to listen to the coach. Guess we're going to have to D up. So Purdue, Arizona, Iowa, Illinois. 2 Elite Eights are set for Saturday. By the way, those Elite Eights are on TBS. Just get ready. They're on TBS tomorrow.
And then we get the region that we've been looking forward to tonight. Duke and St. John's, followed by Michigan State and UConn. Some big boys, some historic teams in the tournament. A lot of Final Fours. Obviously, with Duke, a lot of championships. With UConn, a lot of championships. Some great coaches, some certain styles. I don't know who will be more hoarse after the Michigan State UConn game, Hurley or Izzo, but they will do their fair share of yelling in that game. And it will be, this is when you almost want the 4-letter network to have this game so you can have several camera angles and you could just have coach cams. This is one where you could just watch these two march up and down the sidelines and go crazy for 2 hours and 20 minutes.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to have to worry about getting a lot of Patino and Hurley sideline shots. I really don't. Don't think you're going to have to worry about it, Mark. In fact, I think at some point you may yell at the TV and be like, enough already. Focus on the players. But yeah, heavyweight coaches, big time programs, and a 1, a 2, a 3, and a 5. And if it wasn't the 5, they played the 4, which was Kansas in the second round. So it was a super region that was put together. And so far, no surprises. So here we go.
Michigan.
A lot of people picking the Johnnies. It makes me a little worried. Makes me worry that because it's like the casinos in Vegas. When you got too many people maybe going on one side, it's like, maybe I need to peel somebody back and go the other way.
Well, it's true, David. If you look at the first week of the tournament, look at all of the upsets that were picked that didn't happen. South Florida was the pick that everybody was all over. Santa Clara was the pick that everybody was all over. There were a bunch of those teams that all of a sudden looked like the sexy upsets. And you know what happened? A lot of them got their doors blown off. I mean, even St. Louis and Georgia, everybody goes, well, Georgia's been playing really good. They lost by 47 for crying out loud. So it has been a tournament in which when the play that people thought they could get Vegas with, Vegas does what Vegas does. And that is build bigger casinos. But we've got more to talk about than the madness. We will talk madness. Jason Carmello will join us. Pat Kirwan to talk the NFL, and Kyle Sielaff. The Marlins, they start their season today. It looked really good for a half inning for Tampa Bay, but then the bottom of the inning came, and it was worse than all the runs that the Rays scored as the Cardinals put up an 8 spot on them to win. The Bolts get a point as hockey moves on in the East. Lots to talk about. The starting 5, 25 minutes away. Thanks for joining us, Miller and Moulton.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Let's talk the big differences between Floormeisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floormeisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floormeisters backs their installer. So if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floormeisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floormeisters in Naples. Floormeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs and has been for 30 years. American Paint Supplies is also your #1 Festool dealer in Southwest Florida. If you are a builder, cabinet maker, painter, or power tool enthusiast, Festool craftsmanship can be found at American Paint Supplies. Celebrating 30 years of service, and Festool is celebrating 100 years of excellence. Come to American Paint Supply for a perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street, Naples, off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Some rings are beautiful. Takori rings are unforgettable. April 17th through the 19th, Takori brings their entire collection to the Diamond District. Extraordinary engagement, breathtaking wedding bands, and Takori's newest fine jewelry for spring. Here for one unforgettable weekend. The Legend of Takori, April 17th through the 19th at the Diamond District. Hablamos Español.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Did not notice that, DC. Now, was that before last night or after last night?
Who needs Jay Billis? My wife's in the 95th percentile.
Here we go.
But she needs Duke to win, so.
Well, I wonder how many people still have teams left in the South region. You know, who had Illinois beating Houston and who didn't have Florida?
I mean, there's quite a few Illinois, believe it or not. I mean, the Florida one got everybody, but there's the Illinois is not that unusual. I mean, it's not in the majority, but it's not that unusual. Tell you what, their hockey team better play better than it did yesterday. They were lousy. They won, but they were lousy. Hopefully that's their one bad game. Fortunately, they've got a really good goaltender.
Yeah, what was that? 41 saves, something like that?
Yeah. Kid that scored the goal from UConn is a product of the Hertz Arena recreational program. Pretty amazing, all the kids that have played hockey at that have gone on to play pretty high levels of hockey. Hell, we're putting out as many hockey players now as football players. Football's not what it once was in Southwest Florida.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour, the starting five, in a little more than 15 minutes time. Here on Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. It was opening day of baseball yesterday. Not everybody played. There's still 6 teams who have yet to play. The Rockies, the Marlins, the A's, the Blue Jays, the Royals, and the Braves. They will all play today. But 11 games yesterday, 22 teams who had not played the night before. And I don't know. I thought it was a pretty fun day. We had a lot more runs scored than I remember normally happening on opening day, all throughout baseball.
No doubt. A lot of some big innings, some big days. As a Tigers fan, I thought it was great seeing the kid there that they
Oh my goodness!
put to their line. Didn't know if he was going to make the opening day lineup. In his first Major League Baseball game, goes 4 for 5.
Kevin McConaughey. Which more amazing? So your stud with 4 hits, and then the guy for the Guardians, first Major League game, he hits 2 home runs. Homers in his first ever at bat. I guess he's only like the 5th guy in the history of that franchise to ever do that. And then he homered again when they were holding on to a 1-run lead in the 9th. How about that? First day in the majors, 2 home runs.
Unbelievable. And, that doesn't even get into all the great young players. I looked at a list before the season of the top 10 guys that are, I think, under 25, David. You got Caminero on that list. You got Gunnar Henderson on that list. You got Crow Armstrong on that list. He just turned 24. I mean, there are some great young players in this game, and teams are no longer, except for the Pirates, no longer resisting putting their rookies on the opening day lineup and giving them a chance. So I think that bodes well for the sport. But I must say, David, when it comes to baseball, you and I screwed up yesterday. And we were taken to task on the Pelican Roofing of Florida text line, and rightly so. This person is right. Person just simply says, listen to most of the show today. Heard you guys discuss MLB over-under win totals, but didn't hear you give your best bets. I went back through the podcast and couldn't find your best bets either. And you know what? They're right. We talked about over-unders and we said we'd give them later. And you know what we never did? We never gave them. We got off on different subjects, talked about different things. And I gave one on the air that I had already bet, but we usually give 2 or 3, and we never did.
Well, I bet 6 of them. So
okay. But we didn't do it on the air, I guess, is the point.
No. I got it. No. Hey, he called us out. We screwed up. Okay. No doubt. I mean, I think 24 hours later, if we give, I don't think one game is going to affect, changing your mind on an over-under. But, yeah, okay. We didn't do it. Our bad. And caught up in the excitement of March Madness and opening day. Didn't give the over-unders. By the way, I went with 4 overs, 2 unders in the 6 bets that I made. So, curious if any of mine and any of yours are the same, then in theory, those would have been our bets. But I went Braves under, Dodgers under, over on the Reds, Padres, Yankees, and Red Sox. So we'll see how I do. Put my money behind it.
Yeah, I was with you on the Braves and the Dodgers, and I went over on the Tigers. Those were my 3.
There you go.
So there you have it. Apologies to anybody that was counting on that for us, because we did promise it yesterday and then didn't do it.
Right. And we had boasted about how good we've been the last 2 years, 6-1 on our over-unders. So our bad.
But the more things change in sports, but particularly here in baseball, the more they stay the same. And sure, one game does not make a season. But when you suck, and you've sucked for a long time, and then you play your first game, and there are 27 outs in that game for your team, and 20 of them are strikeouts, I worry. And I'm talking about the Chicago White Sox, who struck out 20 times yesterday. How is that? This is everything that's wrong with this sport wrapped up in a package with a nice bow on it.
Now, I will say they faced a starter who's a problem, the young Mizorowski kid from Milwaukee, and he's a strikeout machine, and he had 11 of those 20 in the first 5 innings, but that still means 9 more in the last 4. That's more than 2 an inning on average. I mean, come on, guys.
So that to me was just kind of a microcosm of what's wrong with the sport. And if I'm a White Sox fan who, look at all they were looking, if the White Sox were to win, David, I actually don't even think they had to go 500 this year, or don't have to go 500. If they win 75 to 80 games, I think a White Sox fan would go, hey, all right, we're turning the corner here. These young guys are starting. Maybe we're a couple years away, and you're in a division where it seemingly doesn't take much to win. But 20 Ks on opening day can be disheartening.
67.5 is the White Sox over-under. So they can lose 94 games and still win you money on the over. But, yeah, try not to get too down from opening day. All right. My favorite team, best team in their existence, started 2-3. Okay. One of my favorite teams of all time got beat like 11-0 on opening day. I mean, try not to, Rays fan was freaking out yesterday, blowing a 6-run lead. I know, sucks. And it's baseball, because that's the strength of your team. What was the one thing we were talking with Andy Freed yesterday? What was the one thing that we knew we could hang our hat on with the Rays?
Well, that's
not
pitching,
just
of course, David.
Not just pitching, but the bullpen. Right. And they blow a 6-run lead in the 6th.
And to me, that's that with the Rays, someone just texted the show, said, Miller, the Rays are in midseason form already. Look, I have to be brutally honest. If it's 7-1 after 6 and you give up 2 and then you give up 3 and then you give up 2 and then you give up 1, it's like, oh, man, what happened? But they didn't have, they scored 6 in the top of the frame and gave up 8 in the bottom of the frame. It's not like they were leading the whole game and this thing disappeared from them. They were leading for 15 minutes, for crying out loud.
Never been an inning like that on opening day, by the way, where each team scored 6 or more runs in their half of the inning. Also, hottest opening day in St. Louis history. 91 degrees yesterday at Busch. Unbelievable.
So opening day has come and gone for almost everybody. The Marlins get it going today. Kyle Sielaff will join us later in the show to talk about his thoughts on a Marlins team. Boy, they're I know the Rays gave up all the runs, but they're kind of a mirror image of the Rays. They don't have the Caminero bat, but they are supposed to have really good pitching, and they're going to really struggle to score runs. And the question is, if it goes well, then they're hovering around 500 at the All-Star break, and they think maybe they could sneak in and get a wild card. If it goes poorly, Is this the year Alcantara gets traded at the deadline? I mean, that's really, to me, what the season is for the Marlins, David.
No question. They've got two big-time starting pitchers who were injured last year in various forms. So they've got them to start this year. Will they keep them? Meanwhile, they had some young guys really come through at the plate. A, can they do it again? But B, can they get better? If that happens, then they're a winning team. So, yeah, the Marlins are very interesting, and they only have about 3.5 months to deliver before their very active GM will determine their future.
But with the injuries the Braves have early to their pitching staff, is that the opportunity that the Marlins just may need? The starting five, that's next.
American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs and has been for 30 years. American Paint Supplies is also your #1 Festool dealer in Southwest Florida. If you are a builder, cabinet maker, painter, or power tool enthusiast, Festool craftsmanship can be found at American Paint Supplies. Celebrating 30 years of service, and Festool is celebrating 100 years of excellence. Come to American Paint Supply for a perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street, Naples, off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Let's talk the big differences between Floormeisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floormeisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floormeisters backs their installer, so if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floormeisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floormeisters in Naples. Floormeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
PA Commissioner Adam Silver will visit Lee County in April as he is recognized by the Edison Awards as their Achievement Award honoree. His recognition not only highlights his leadership within professional sports, but also his broader influence on business, technology, and social responsibility. The Edison Awards recognize thought leadership from around the globe, making Silver's visit a significant moment for Lee County. Visit EdisonAwards.com for event details and tickets. Lee County, building a better community through business, sports, and tourism.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
This is Miller and Moulton.
I didn't even see that, Georgie girl. That's really cool. I was too disgusted with the announcement. I didn't watch a pitch of baseball yesterday. Not a pitch. No, Adam, I don't think that they are. I really don't. You were up early, Georgie girl, to get into our show and watch some morning news. Well, you're all over it. By the way, the other game that was on TV for college hockey had a female color analyst too. I guess that's what we do now. Because they hit a lot in that game, and college hockey doesn't hit, so it's just like women's hockey. Yep, that's me. I'll die on that hill. I mean, the play-by-play guy in the Michigan State game was worse than the woman doing color, though. Wow. Breakaway, David. Guy doesn't get the shot off, and the announcer doesn't even say, is that a penalty shot? Doesn't even bring it up. Then they both miss it, and then they show the penalty shot.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes till the top of the hour. Jason Carmello, 1 hour from now. Kyle Sielaff, the TV voice of the Marlins, 2 hours from now. In between the hoops and baseball, some Pat Kirwan with some hardcore NFL talk. That's how we roll on this final Friday of March. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. I don't have a poll question yet. Do you?
I have one idea, but I think the answer is my team, so I don't really want to put it in there. You know, where's the best chance for an upset tonight? And since Sparty's a 1.5 point dog in every other game, I think Tennessee's 3.5. The other ones are 6 and 9 or something like that, or thereabouts. St. John's a 6.5 point underdog, and Bama's like, I think, a 9.5 point dog against Michigan. So that one, you know, that's where my head was when it started. Then I looked at the numbers and I'm like, it's really not that good.
Should we just put the 4 teams up with the spread and say, which one do you like the best?
Yeah, we can. We can. I mean, I know a lot of our audience bets. We're just assuming they all do.
Yeah. You know, because I think a lot of people are going to like St. John's in the points. I don't know if they think they're going to win, but I think if they see 6.5 with Patino and that team defensively, I think they may play it. Never mind, a third of those out there absolutely hate Duke.
A third?
Well,
you're being nice. You're in a good mood this Friday morning, David. A third?
I'm curious now that Coach K is not there. I'm curious if the Duke, hatred level, oh man, I'm sick and tired of them. I'm just curious, how high is it?
This guy's just as arrogant as Coach K without the
He's-
resume.
he's
not
not.
likable. There's nothing likable about this guy. He's Coach K light.
First off, Coach K and Duke were likable there for a while. Remember, they couldn't win the big game. They were having a lot of success, but they couldn't win the big game.
I've got hardwood in my room. Shall I slap it just to give you an example of why we hate Duke?
Well, then that started. There's no question. I mean, listen, by the time Leitner hit the shot, there's no doubt that the tide had turned.
And look they did the documentary, I Hate Christian Leitner, which was terrific, by the way.
Awesome.
Terrific. He'd make my top 5 most hated Duke players, but he's not at the top of the list.
Wow.
I go a little more obscure. Cherokee Parks is right there with me.
Oh, boy, you're going to go Wojciechowski.
Wojciechowski's definitely on the list.
Right,
no doubt
okay.
he's on the list. And then, who's the dirty player? His name escapes me right now.
Grayson Allen.
Thank you. He's ahead of Wojo.
Well, he did trip everybody. Yeah.
I mean, he makes Sparty's guy that likes to kick guys in the you-know-what look like a clean player. Grayson Allen was so dirty.
By the way, Raj was sitting forward in his chair with this hate Duke conversation. You've got a name. He can recall it right now.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I'm definitely a hater.
So look, 67% of this show hates Duke. It's not a third. It's 67% right now. Raj, he's on our team. You know why he's on our team? Because he hates Duke, David. If he didn't hate Duke, it would be 50%. But because he hates Duke, it's 67%.
Time now for
The Starting Five. 5 big stories you need to know. Here is The Starting Five.
brought to you by one of the 5 fastest growing counties in Florida. That's Lee County, Florida. Building a better community through business, sports, and tourism. Business, sports, and tourism. To the madness we go. Purdue with a tip-in right before the buzzer to win a terrific game against Texas, 79-77. Next up for the Boilermakers, top-seeded Arizona. They had no trouble with John Cal and Arkansas, 109-88. It'll be the late game tomorrow night, tip a little before 9 o'clock. Purdue and Arizona, the top 2 seeds out west. The game will be on TBS. Meanwhile, the Iowa Hawkeyes run continues. They trailed for most of the game. They were down 10 at one point. They had a 3-point lead with a minute to play, and Nebraska threw out a unique defense. It was a 1-2-1. That's right, only 4 guys on the court. Needless to say, Iowa had a guy wide open running to the basket. They hit him. He dunked it. He was fouled. 3-point play put him up 6. Hawkeyes beat Nebraska 77-71, their first Elite 8 since 1987. An all Big Ten region final as Illinois beat Houston in Houston, 65-55. Iowa, Illinois, the early game tomorrow, 6 o'clock on TBS. One other college basketball note, Will Wade, after 1 year at NC State, leaves to go back to LSU, who fired him 4 years ago after a 22-win season because, he was caught in that FBI, the tapes. Remember that? Corruption in college sports. Remember that? Yeah, he's back at LSU. So Lane Kiffin's the football coach. Kim Mulkey and Will Wade are the basketball coaches. Their baseball coach is the highest paid one in the country. Okay?
They're buyouts, David. You've got Brian Kelly. Now you're buying out this basketball coach is going to get paid. I don't know if the women's basketball coach got a buyout, but they're still paying $6 million for the AD they got rid of.
By the way, East Region tonight, Duke St. John's, UConn, Michigan State. Midwest Region, Bama, Michigan early. Tennessee, Iowa State late. Opening day in baseball, there were 11 games. The Rays blew a 7-1 lead in the 6th. The Cardinals scored 8 times in the 6th to win it 9-7. Mets with 5 in the first. Paul Skeens didn't make it through the first. His center fielder didn't help him at all. Mets 11-7 over the Pirates is the one thing the Mets can do is win on opening day. Nats with 6 in the 4th beat the Cubs at Wrigley 10-4. Crochet with 6 shutout innings for the Red Sox. They beat the Reds 3-0. What's more impressive for the Tigers? Skubal, 6 innings of no earned run ball, or their prized prospect Kevin McGonigal with 4 hits in his major league debut. Tigers cruise behind a 4-run first over the Padres 8-2. Trevor
Couple of
Rogers
doubles there too for him. I mean, it was not just 4 singles, had 2 doubles in the game. So great start for that young man.
I didn't realize how fast he was. I mean, he hit a 3-hopper to short and beat it out easily. That kid can fly. Orioles 2-1 over the Twins. Trevor Rogers 7 shutout innings for Baltimore. Mizorowski had 11 Ks in 5 innings for Milwaukee. They struck out 20 White Sox in a 14-2 win. Trout homered for the Angels. Man, could he stay healthy for a couple of years late in his career so that we remember him for what he was? Angels 3-0 over the Astros. Phillies, Christopher Sanchez, 6 innings of no runs. They beat Texas 5-3. Dodgers with a 4-run 5th beat Arizona 8-2. Cleveland, in a game with 6 homers, saw 2 of them from Chase DeLauter in his major league debut for the Guardians. They beat Seattle 6-4. The 6 teams yet to play are playing today and tonight. Marlins host the Rockies, Blue Jays host the A's, Braves host the Royals. There are 5 other games to go along with it. 13 NHL games last night. Lightning lost in overtime to Seattle 4-3, so they're 3 points behind the Sabres with only 1 game in hand. Could be a costly point they left on the ice last night. Wild beat the Panthers 3-2. Penguins won another shootout. They had lost 10 of their first 11, but they win last night 4-3 in a shootout. Crosby left early with an injury. That bears watching. But the Penguins are now in second place. Columbus lost in regulation at Montreal 2-1. They're both in the playoffs right now by 2 points. Islanders hold the final wild card today. They beat the Stars 2-1. Colorado over Winnipeg 3-2. The Avs have practically clinched that division. Stars have left some points out there, and the Avs have not. New Jersey with a costly loss for Nashville. 4-2 over the Preds, although Stamkos with his 36th on the season, number 618 of his legendary career. And speaking of legendary careers, Ovechkin with his 34th hat trick last night. And they needed it because they were down 3-1 when he started filling the nets. Okay, throw in an empty netter. He's got 29 on the season, 926 for his career. Washington over the Mammoths 7-4. Anaheim now has a 5-point lead in the division. They beat Calgary 3-2 in overtime. Edmonton got a goal and 2 helpers from McDavid in a 4-3 overtime win over Vegas. Philly is 5 points out of a playoff spot. They beat Chicago 5-1. LA Kings now a point behind the Preds for the final playoff spot in the West. 4-0 over Vancouver. And I don't think we're going to see Celebrini in the playoffs. San Jose is falling apart. They lost to St. Louis 2-1 in overtime yesterday. College hockey, Michigan State over UConn 2-1. Wisconsin over Dartmouth 5-1. They're the second and third ranked teams in the country at the end of the regular season. Michigan State, Wisconsin in the region final Saturday at 4:30. In the other region yesterday, North Dakota shut out Merrimack 3-0. Quinnipiac beat Providence 5-2. North Dakota and Quinnipiac, the 6th and 8th ranked teams in the country, in the region final Saturday night. 3 games in the NBA yesterday. Magic snap a 6-game skid. They held off Sacramento at home, 121-117. The Charlotte Hornets are the hottest team in the league. They beat the Knicks and snapped their 7-game win streak, 114-103. And the Pistons got 30 points, 10 rebounds from Jalen Duren in a 129-108 win over the Pelicans. 10 games in the NBA tonight, including the Heat in Cleveland and the Hawks in Boston. Houston Open, England's Paul Waring at 7 under has a 1-shot lead over Gary Woodland. What an amazing story it would be if Gary Woodland could win even one more time after his brain surgery. President Trump, by the way, with the PGA Tour breaking news yesterday, he says Tiger Woods is not going to play in the Masters. No comment from El Tigre. LPGA 4 championships in Arizona. Lydia Ko, a 12 under 60. Second best round in LPGA history. And yet she only has a 1-shot lead. Nelly Korda, 3 back. Jessica Korda shot even par as she begins her comeback. Tennis, the Miami Open. It'll be Sabalenka, the top seed, against Coco Gauff in the finals on the women's side. And by the way, women's hoops, Sweet 16 all day and night today on the 4-letter network. North Dakota Vandy, UNC UConn, Minnesota UCLA, and Duke LSU. 4 games in a row on ESPN beginning at 2:30 today, the women's Sweet 16. And at 8 minutes before the hour mark, that was the starting 5. 5 big stories you needed to know, courtesy of Lee County, one of the fastest growing counties in Florida. Why? Because they're building a better community through business, sports, and tourism.
I will say, of all the stories that you talked about, and it's not even close to the biggest, it's probably the one that will get the least play. I'm with you. If Gary Woodland were to win, in the fact that he started out 6 under and he's 1 back, finished with 3 birdies. He started on the back 9, shot a 3 under 32, made a bogey coming in, but he went birdie, bogey, birdie, birdie to get it to 6 under. He had the brain surgery. He's suffering from PTSD because of the brain surgery. The fact that he's playing is amazing on the PGA Tour. And if he were to compete this week and be in the hunt, I don't know if I'm taking basketball off to watch it. I don't know what the timing of everything will be on Sunday. But, man, what a story that would be, David.
I think he finished second in this tournament last year, so he likes his course. He plays well there. He's a former U.S. Open champion, has had a ton of injuries, then had brain surgery. He's fortunate to be alive and playing, and he's still struggling, recovering from it. Would be a heartwarming story.
The Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to CapeCops.com. CapeCops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floormeisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floormeisters backs their installer, so if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floormeister's prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floormeisters in Naples. Floormeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies, celebrating 30 years in Naples, is proud to be the exclusive Farrow and Ball dealer in Southwest Florida. The best thing to come from the UK since the Beatles, Farrow and Ball has the colors and paints at American Paint Supplies. See why all the designers and painters choose Farrow and Ball. For 30 years, American Paint Supplies provides the perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs.
Some rings are beautiful. The Koi rings are unforgettable. April 17th through the 19th, Koi brings their entire collection to the Diamond District. Extraordinary engagement, breathtaking wedding bands, and to Koi's newest fine jewelry for spring. Here for one unforgettable weekend, the Legend of Takori, April 17th through the 19th at the Diamond District. Hablamos Espanol.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine, no more snoring, no more tossing, no more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Thank you so much. Tickets, that's what I'll go with. I don't know. But thank you. And sorry about your mom. Doing pretty well. No complaints. Other than I want to get the hell out of here, but I've got 6 more weeks, so it is what it is. I will say getting ready with no hair is really a lot easier than getting ready with hair. That's what I heard, Wes. I didn't see it, but that's what I heard.
I didn't see it either. Whew.
Thanks, DTW. I get to ring it one more time here. I rang it leaving Moffat, and they got one here at the Hope Lodge. So I will be sure to. That's for certain. And yes, it is. Especially for the guy ringing it. Trust me. And Johnny Fingerlegs, I didn't respond to your email, but I got it. Thank you very much for the info.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Hour 2 of Miller and Moulton on this final Friday of March. Thanks so much for being with us. Jason Carmello to talk some hoops in about 35 minutes time. Pat Kirwan in an hour. Kyle Sielaff, television voice of the Marlins, in about 90 minutes as they get their season underway tonight at home against the Rockies. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. We're working on a poll question. We've had a bunch of them this week. So we might, the tank might be empty, but we're trying to come up with one.
Well, you know, we'll get there. It really is not any sort of big day today. You know, I was going through the national days, David, and I didn't see anything that jumped out at me.
No David Moulton Appreciation Day, aka Manatee Day. No,
it's International Whiskey Day. But you know, one, you've got to be a whiskey drinker to be. You know, you could go bourbon, rye, Scotch, Irish whiskey, but you're really pigeonholing the person who, you know, you've got to be a whiskey drinker to even appreciate the question.
Right.
You know, it's National Viagra Day, which for our Southwest Florida audience is keeping most of their wives happy.
Well, there's a few other markets where that works also.
St. Pete. I mean, St. Pete, you're right.
Yeah. There's a few others.
The Port Charlotte, Venice markets relying upon it.
Yeah, I think it's pretty popular along I-75. Okay. You know, I mean, I don't know if it's more popular in spring training, but it's close. It's up there.
I tell you what, it's really where they should advertise.
Well, I will say, I see more vasectomy billboards along I-75 than I do most other interstates. I will say that. In my travels, Mark, all right, I-75 does seem to lead in that category.
And David, you know what really bothers me? Because I am always trying to sell sponsorships for this show. The vasectomy guy will not do radio advertising because I've called him.
Man.
I know that comes as a shock to you that I've made that phone call, but
what if we can get somebody who's actually had one? Okay. Can vouch for it. I mean,
well, they weren't even nice.
Huh.
They were not even nice. They must get enough phone calls that they were very curt, to say the very least, with me on the phone. So much so that I'm like, well, I'm done with this guy. So,
all right, fair enough.
21,000, the Pelican Roofing of Florida text line. They are a sponsor, by the way. Pelican Roofing of Florida, 1-866-9-PELICAN, statewide in Florida, commercial or residential. Pelican Roofing of Florida, proud sponsor of Miller and Moulton, and the Pelican Roofing of Florida text line. 21,000 is the number.
Listen, Jason Carmello is going to come on in 35 minutes, but I am curious. You tell me how Michigan State's going to win this game. All right. How many teams better than Michigan State has Michigan State beaten this year?
I don't really. I mean, Illinois. They beat Illinois when Illinois was playing pretty well.
Yeah. Okay.
But I didn't pick Michigan State to win this game, so I don't think that they are. To me, it's very simple, David. They have, the big guy can hit threes. But the problem is that I think UConn's big man down low is going to tear Michigan State apart because Michigan State's big men, they've got a couple of them, but they are not fast. They're reasonably strong, but I don't think they're quick enough to defend what UConn can do at the post.
I think Michigan State, and listen, I picked Michigan State to win this region, but I picked them because I thought UCLA was going to take care of UConn in the second round. This is the matchup that I dread the most for Michigan State, to be honest. I actually think they would do better against the winner of Duke St. John's than they will against UConn tonight. But I think Michigan State needs to take a page right out of St. John's book because I think this Michigan State team, Mark, can really defend. Okay, and I think they need to win this game ugly. I think they need to put on the Big East final and show what St. John's did to UConn, okay, and say, this is what we have to do to them tonight. We've got to win a rock fight. And I mean a rock fight. I don't think this game, if this game gets to 70, I don't know if I like Michigan State's chances.
It's funny, David, because UConn has one of the slowest paces of any team in the country. UConn plays a very slow style, believe it or not. They don't shoot the three-pointer all that well. They want to. I agree that State's got to D up. But what Michigan State, when they're playing well, does well is they run and they get the ball up the court quickly and try to get advantages by how fast they push the ball. And I think that they've got to be able to get easy buckets tonight against UConn. I think they've got to be able to take advantage of maybe UConn not getting back on D and get a couple of easy buckets and get Keeler or Kohler there trailing the play, knocking down big threes. I understand what you're saying, and I don't think you're wrong. But I think UConn's comfortable with a rock fight with them. That's how they play. And the other thing is Michigan State, for the first time in a while, David, they're like they were a long time ago. They're a pretty damn good free throw shooting team. UConn's not. If the game gets into what we had last night with Purdue and Texas, Michigan State's pretty deep. And Michigan State's a good free throw shooting team. So those are areas that I think they can beat UConn. But I think UConn's the better team. I thought it before the tournament started. I think it now.
I do think that Duke's injuries are going to play a factor tonight. I think if Duke was healthy, and I know the one guy is going to try to come back tonight and give him some minutes, the other guy is out. I think if Duke were healthy, I wouldn't have picked the upset. But St. John's offensively scares the heck out of me. All right. And how they performed at the end of the Kansas game. I mean, if you're Duke, do you have the guts to maybe challenge St. John's a little bit defensively? Because they didn't handle the pressure very well. Now, Duke's not very deep, and that takes a lot of effort and energy, but St. John's offensively concerns me. Like, I don't think St. John's can cut down the nets. Do I think they can win 4 games? Maybe. But I picked them to win 3 because eventually I think their offense is going to do them in. They got to play well offensively tonight. Duke scores against everybody except Siena.
Well, I do think with the injuries that Duke has, you do everything you can to take. I mean, this is pretty obvious. I don't think I'm breaking any news here, but you do what you can to take Boozer out of the game. And now with the guys that are hurt, they don't have the 3-point shooting that they've had throughout the season. They're not the same scoring team that they were, David. I'm going to let other guys try to beat me from the 3-point line and make sure Boozer doesn't beat me. That's the way I look at this game.
Well, and that's how Florida State defended them. They tried to take the one Boozer off the court and basically didn't guard the other one. Now, I will say the other Boozers played better since that Florida State game. But There's a lot of sentiment for whatever reason for St. John's. And maybe the sentiment is just people don't like Duke. And it's been a long time since St. John's has had a deep run in the tournament. We talked about it. Iowa in the Elite Eight for the first time since '87. When's the last time Iowa went to the Final Four? I believe it was 1980. Arizona, Mark, amazingly, has not been to the Final Four since 2001. I mean, Matt Painter's had a couple of embarrassing losses in the NCAA tournament. He's also gone to a Final Four here recently. Arizona hasn't been in 25 years. It isn't a fascinating footnote. Last time Iowa was to the Final Four, you know who the coach was? Lute Olson. Last time Arizona went to the Final Four, you know who the coach was? Lute Olson.
I think just looking at the numbers in tonight's game, the Michigan State UConn over-under's 134. I mean, they're predicting a rock fight. Both teams play at a pretty slow pace. The Michigan-Alabama over-under is nearly 40 points higher. It's 172.5.
And what's the spread? Like 9?
9.5.
So, do the math here.
90-80, basically. I mean,
yeah.
91-81 is basically what they're telling you.
Yeah, there you go.
So that seems about right because Alabama wants to roll it out and play, and Michigan doesn't give a damn what style they play. You want to pack it in and slow it down with Michigan, they're fine. But if you want to roll it out, even better. And the big guy there for Michigan is, he's a problem. He's a good scorer. He rebounds. He defends really well. He's 7'3" for crying out loud. I mean, he's a problem.
All right.
And they can shoot the 3 ball too. So I don't give Alabama a shot in hell in this game. I don't.
Okay. We had 2 teams who during the regular season didn't play a lot of defense and got called out by their coaches. One of them last night D'd up, Illinois. They ended up winning. One of them last night continued to play the way they play, and that was Arkansas, and they got beat by 21. Your prediction on Alabama, more likely to really play some defense against Michigan? And I'm not saying that they get involved in a 65-55 game, but I'm just saying that maybe they play a game closer to 80. High 70s, 80, or do you think that the Michigan-Alabama game is going to be something along the lines of 109-88 like Arizona-Arkansas?
I think it's going to be like the Arizona game.
All right.
I've said it all year. I think this is the best team in the country. I think Michigan's dynamite. And you and I were on the Dusty May bandwagon when he was at FAU. He was kind enough to come on our show a lot. They've got a great coach. They got the best team money can buy. They didn't spend the most, but they made smart acquisitions, and they've paid off. Alabama losing a key player doesn't help. I mean, maybe they can smuggle some dope into the Michigan locker room, and that'll help them. I have no idea what Alabama's going to do.
Wow.
Miller and Moulton.
The Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to capecops.com. Capecops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape.
American Paint Supplies, celebrating 30 years in Naples, is proud to be the exclusive Farrow & Ball dealer in Southwest Florida. The best thing to come from the UK since the Beatles, Farrow & Ball has the colors and paints at American Paint Supplies. See why all the designers and painters choose Farrow & Ball. For 30 years, American Paint Supplies provides the perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floor Meisters backs their installer, so if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floor Meisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floor Meisters in Naples. Floormeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
This is Miller and Moulton.
There, I put 2 poll questions up. Because of the whiskey day, the one, I don't know who put it in there, and I'm not going back to look, but thank you for the question. How do you like your whiskey? Neat, on the rocks, mixed with something. I don't drink whiskey, and best chance for an upset. And since Michigan State and UConn are 1.5, I didn't even put that up there. I just put the other 3 games.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Jason Carmello, scheduled to join us in a little more than 15 minutes. We'll talk hoops. Pat Kirwan at the top of the hour. We'll talk football. Kyle Sielaff in a little more than an hour. We'll talk baseball with a focus on the Marlins, considering he calls their games on television. By the way, how'd that work out yesterday for everybody? Finding out what channel your team's games are on and whether or not you can get them at all.
No, I think for most of our listening audience, it was really just a matter of where they get the raise. I mean, I know there's some people that are listening around the country, but the majority of our audience is Florida. So, I know DirecTV gave away the package for free for the first week so you could get everything. And they do that every year. They've always done that. And I had a fight with my technology beat me yesterday, David. Because I could not sign in to my MLB app on the television. I had to change my password. I changed my password. It still wouldn't let me sign in. It fought with me. And then I said, you know what? Screw you. I'm going to watch college hockey.
Okay.
Because it was after I watched Michigan State and UConn play the first hockey game. So it was after that. I'm like, well, let's see if that'll give me the Tigers. If not, let's see if I can watch the Rays. And the app fought with me. The app won. I fought the app, and the app won.
There we go.
And I gave up. I went Dartmouth, Wisconsin after that. I'm like, you know what? You guys want to fight with me? There's other stuff I can watch. Put the Houston Open on for a half a minute.
So I'm a Comcast Xfinity customer, and I guess it's going to work out okay for me. But, man, this is a mess. This is an absolute mess. And not only that, it is a financial bath for so many of these teams. I mean, we're talking serious money difference from what they were getting from their regional cables versus what they're getting now. I mean, we're talking 40 to 50 million less per year. And, is that going to be the same thing next year for hockey and basketball? Now, basketball's got the huge national deal, so I don't think it'll be as big a deal. But obviously, we all know hockey. They don't have nearly the TV deals. I mean, they're American TV deals, $700 million a year. That's $400 from ESPN and $300 from Turner. $700 million a year. It's laughable compared to, the other major sports. And so how much do these teams rely on this revenue, Mark?
Well, David, a ton, obviously. Baseball more than hockey, because their regional cable deals aren't nearly what the baseball deals are. It's not close.
Right.
Baseball or hockey's the one sport that relies on their gate more than any other sport.
Yep.
But from a baseball standpoint, I really, this is the part of it that's fascinating to me is what we talked about for a bit yesterday. The Padres, $3.5 billion. And, you and I talked, and look at who knows if they're going to get a cap and a floor and all those kind of things. But one of the things that we said, if we're the players and they're serious about a cap, then you got to get these owners out in Minnesota and Pittsburgh and some of the other franchises that just refuse to spend money. Well, if you don't have a revenue stream from television and it's now 10% of what you've been getting forever, And David Sampson, the last time he was on the show, talked about this. You just look at line items and where your revenue is. And it's like, okay, I've got 40 million here from the TV deal. You know you're getting that. Now you have no idea what you're getting, and you're not going to get close to that. I'm struggling with how these franchises are worth what they are. I actually would like, if there's a way to get an interview in the next couple of weeks, for someone to explain this to me, because it doesn't make sense. This seems, for my stupidity financially, this seems like the GameStop stock. When all of a sudden a bunch of people decided that they were going to try to do what they could to raise the stock of something that wasn't really worth it, to mess with Wall Street, and did. I feel the same way about sports franchises. I don't think TGL franchises are worth $100 million. I don't think baseball franchises are worth, I don't think NBA expansion franchises are worth $7.5 billion. I don't get it.
No, don't get it at all. I don't know how the Phoenix Suns are worth $4 billion. And that's what they went for. And I don't understand how you make your money besides selling. And then you're going to hope in however many years that you're getting 5 or 6 billion. I just don't see it. I don't know how you make your money back. It's like the guys who invested in the PGA Tour. They're not dumb people. They're filthy rich. They're wildly successful in just about everything they do. And they just handed over 1.5 billion of the PGA Tour. That's great for the tour. What are you getting out of it? Because they're giving that money away in prize money.
But I will say, for the baseball fan, because, if you're in the state of Florida, you're going to, it pretty much, if you have cable, if you have traditional cable, you're getting the games. If you have direct TV, you're getting the games. People like me that cut the cord and went the streaming route were screwed. But it's a pretty small percentage that have done that. I happened to see something online. If you're a Tigers fan and you're in the state of Michigan, they listed every cable system and where the games are. You're going to get your team. And now with ESPN Plus going in with MLB.TV, David, it seems that if you're out of market and you want to spend the money to get your team, it seems easier than it's ever been. It does, if you make that choice. But from a team standpoint, very different, David. Very different, because it's a terrible windfall or a terrible decrease in revenue for these teams. There's no doubt.
Now, I will say, and I know there's a lot of us because we pay for a lot of streaming services and we're tired of it. I get it. And they're doing nothing but going up, 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 up. I have always thought that the baseball deal was a good deal. Because if you're a baseball fan, you watch a lot of baseball. So if they're charging you $99.99 for the year, you're going to watch 100 games? Really? It's going to cost you $1 a game? If you start figuring that out and compared to all the other stuff that you're streaming and how much of it is you're watching. So I get it. You $99.99, $129.99, you hear these prices. I think for baseball, it's a pretty good deal.
And it's a little more than that now. It's $150, but it's still that's a good deal. I guess you get a discount if you use ESPN Unlimited, which I don't have. But then you're spending $20 a month or $30 a month for ESPN Unlimited. You can get it for $15 cheaper. But if you just want to get it, it's $150. But I still don't think that that's a terrible deal.
No.
I said, I'll probably jump in after hockey, David, because I'm not going to watch a ton of baseball between now and when the NHL playoffs are over. I just know what I'm going to do. But I'm dumping Netflix. I'm going to justify one by getting rid of another.
There you go.
And I'll probably at that point get rid of Apple TV, which I bought while I was in the hospital because I started watching a couple of shows with Peacock. That came as a combo. So I get rid of both of those. I get baseball. I'm probably saving $1 or $2. That's the part where we have to be smart and not have 10 gym memberships. That's what I equate this to. You go to Planet Fitness or you go wherever, and, hey, I'm going to work out. You get that thing in January and you don't ever cancel it.
Right.
You've got to be smart as a consumer.
By the way, I like your Tigers over the more I think about it. The more I think about it, I'm like, I can't believe I didn't jump on that. They won 87 games last year. The over-under is 85.5 this year with the front two pitchers alone. I like that, Mark. Good play by you.
2 poll questions up. One's about whiskey. One's about basketball. That Mark Miller, the David Moulton, Miller _ Moulton on X. Jason Carmello is next. NBA Commissioner Adam Silver will visit Lee County in April as he is recognized by the Edison Awards as their Achievement Award honoree. His recognition not only highlights his leadership within professional sports, but also his broader influence on business, technology, and social responsibility. The Edison Awards recognize thought leadership from around the globe, making Silver's visit a significant moment for Lee County. Visit EdisonAwards.com for event details and tickets. Lee County, building a better community through business, sports, and tourism.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floor Meisters backs their installer, so if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floor Meisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floor Meisters in Naples. FloorMeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies, celebrating 30 years in Naples, is proud to be the exclusive Farrow & Ball dealer in Southwest Florida. The best thing to come from the UK since the Beatles, Farrow & Ball has the colors and paints at American Paint Supplies. See why all the designers and painters choose Farrow & Ball. For 30 years, American Paint Supplies provides the perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs.
Some rings are beautiful. The Koi rings are unforgettable. April 17th through the 19th, Koi brings their entire collection to the Diamond District. Extraordinary engagement, breathtaking wedding bands, and Koi's newest fine jewelry for spring. Here for one unforgettable weekend. The Legend of Koi, April 17th through the 19th at the Diamond District. Hablamos Espanol.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Yeah, I like Shrinking a lot. I got to watch the rest of it. I watched one season when I was in the hospital, and it was terrific. But now between my mother and my wife here, I don't like to watch shows, halfway through that they're in, but they might just have to deal. But I think I can get rid of the majority of my streaming services. Like HBO, I can live without. I used to really like 2 shows. Now I like one. The other is just like late night television to me. He went from being funny to hating one guy so much that it's just difficult to watch, even though it's a good show. I think John Oliver's really funny, but it's just now he's so focused on one thing, it doesn't make the show as good as it used to be. And there's nothing else on HBO that I'm into. There probably are great shows, but I don't, I think Euphoria is supposed to be really good. I might be a little old to be watching that show. And I'm sure there are others. I did watch most of Soul Power. I think I've got 1 episode left, maybe 2. I don't know how many total that there are. The ABA documentary, excellent. Didn't realize all the lawsuits that were filed and all the different things that came of that. Oh, really? I didn't know that, Red Dog. And I'm watching Ted Lasso with my wife. I did say that, Wes. It's what I just said. Morning, Jason.
Hey, good morning.
Thanks for doing this so early because, I knew what time I was getting up and fell asleep in the second half of that rock fight between Illinois and Houston.
Illinois finally kind of was able to get away from them a little bit. No problem. I've got 2 little ones, so I'm okay getting up early.
Okay. All right. How old?
9 and 12. Not as little as
I've
they
got
used to
my
be.
daughter's about to turn 12, so I understand where you're coming from.
There you go.
Do you do carpool?
No carpool, but I take them. Yeah.
Okay.
How are you guys doing?
Doing good.
Good.
How was everybody after the Florida game?
Oh, fine. I mean, we're into the story.
But
Yeah,
in the Florida fan cares more about football. I mean, they're bummed out. I think they'll be pissed if he were to leave and go to North Carolina. But
Yeah.
it's not the same outrage like when they lose a football game.
Really?
It's just it's a side thing for the Florida fan. It really is.
His buyout is, I think it's like 16 million. You
Yeah,
guys
I
would
think
probably
it's
know
six-
better than me.
I think it's 16.
I don't think he's leaving, but
I don't think he is either.
Tommy Lloyd left the door open in his press conference, so
He'd be stupid to
he'd be
do it.
stu- Yeah.
He'd
Yep.
be absolutely stupid to do it. He's a West Coast guy. Just, he's going to take Arizona their first Final Four in 25 years, get your raise, an extension, and stay.
Yeah. You can coach there a long time if you want.
Sure can.
With no pressure.
Yeah. Yeah, especially if he makes the finals this year.
Yep.
Now, the guy at Alabama after tonight, that'll be interesting.
Yep. He's always kind of wanted a little bit more. Yeah.
I don't see him. That's oil and water to me in North Carolina.
I know.
It probably is, but he might be seen as their best possible solution.
Okay.
Because
Fair
the
enough.
word is the Iowa State coach took himself out of it.
I think he's from there. I think his wife's from there. I think he sees it's actually a really good job. When they come here I live in Kansas City. When they come here to Kansas City for the Big 12 tournament, it's almost all Iowa State people. It's insane.
It's a hidden little gem. One of the best home gyms in the country.
Yeah. Yeah. Hilton. Good following. Hoiberg left there, right? Hoiberg had it humming too. And then he left. So
Here we go.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
22 minutes till the top of the hour. Pat Kirwan will join us then to talk football. Kyle Sielaff an hour from now. He's calling the Marlins season opener tonight against the Rockies. We'll have the television voice of the Marlins 1 hour from now. But Jason Carmello, kind enough to join us once again, getting up early once again. His blog is the Big Underdog blog. Big Underdog blog. He's also part of Bustin' Brackets. Follow him on X at Big Underdog blog, Big Underdog blog. Your thoughts on last night? Start wherever you'd like. Go.
We've talked about, we'll start with Purdue and Texas, right? Anybody that saw Texas as a 11 seed Cinderella, like that's not an accurate statement, right? Texas has the resources to be a 1 or 2 seed. They actually had a really down year and a disappointing season. So in a lot of ways, it was a very evenly matched game. Purdue, we've talked about before. Purdue has a roster built a bit like the Chiefs have been the last 5 years, 10 years in football. They've all played together. They've all been through it. These are the same seniors that lost to St. Peter's in their freshman year, right? They've lost to Fairleigh Dickinson. So all of these players have gone through it. I think Purdue paced themselves throughout the year, and when they need to turn it on, they turn it on. They did that last night against Texas and held on. Then you deal with an Arizona team. So Purdue will play Arizona. And when you look at that Arizona team, what's crazy about them is they are different. They're built different than every other single team in the country. They scored 109 points last night, and they took 8 threes. They absolutely kill you inside. They are relentless with their force inside, and they're built so differently that they're a really tough matchup. Now, Purdue's big, but Arizona is a physically dominant team.
And it is going to be interesting because you're right. Purdue's big. I don't know if they're quick enough down low, and in the way Arizona is able to get to the bucket, I think it's going to cause problems for Purdue. But Lawyer's going to have to make more threes. I mean, they've got ways to do it. They're just going to have to be incredibly efficient offensively. Iowa and Nebraska, and this. I don't know if Iowa's the Cinderellas that left, but they're a Big Ten team. I don't know if they don't have the resources as Texas, but they still have resources. My co-host David's called a lot of college basketball. I've been watching basketball my whole life. I've never seen an 8th grade team put 4 on the floor late in the game. So when you saw that, and the announcers for a while until Van Gundy called, they all missed it. They didn't have it in real time. How does that happen? Have you ever seen anything like that before, Jason?
Never seen anything like that. You'll see, and David, you've seen over the years, a lot of your head assistant or your second assistant usually has a board with the 5 matchups, right? And so your players have a certain matchup against it. Well, in the most important timeout in the history of Nebraska basketball, somebody missed it. I mean, you got 17 assistants sitting there. They're all in, they're all in those zip up quarters. So they just missed it. It can't happen. Like, there's not a scenario where it can happen. And I'll tell you what, Ben McCollum can really coach. Now there's an aura about him, and there's a presence about him, but he can really coach. I mean, just a little side note for how competitive McCollum has been up until Ohio State beat them in the Big Ten tournament this year. McCollum had won 31 straight conference tournament games, dating back to when he was at Northwest State in Missouri. Then obviously he ran through it with Drake and been successful here with Iowa. He's a really good tournament coach because he plays his players in the similar way all year. His guards play all game all the time, and they can play all game all the time because of the pace. So what they did with Nebraska was they knew Nebraska could shoot. What Iowa does is they're 361 in pace out of 365 in the country. They walk the ball up, they work it down, and they get shots late in the shot clock, and it allows their players to play at a slow pace and play the whole game. He doesn't have a deep roster, but Sturtz never gets in foul trouble because of that pace, and they make shots late. The Nebraska mistake is really disappointing for a year that was really that's a Cinderella year, right? That's a Cinderella year. I know they're in the Big Ten, but they've never won a tournament game. They won 2. So, it sets up an Iowa-Illinois matchup that should be really, really good.
Before we go forward, do you think, we've talked in the past about when guys are running onto the court with a second to go, should the officials call a technical or not? There was some talk after the game last night. One of the officials could have, very easily, by the way, could have looked over at Hoiberg and said, you only have 4. Okay. I mean, there's a lot of discussion that goes on between officials and coaches during a game. Okay. Officials help coaches out. Okay. Obviously, they didn't do it then. The burden's not on the official, but I also found it interesting, Jason, that there was not one of the officials that said, you got 4. Okay. And then they, literally run a guy onto the court.
Yep. That 100% right. As you know, David, like, there's so many people courtside. There's the clock officials, there's the game officials, there's everybody courtside. Heck, you've got your radio people sitting right next to you too. I mean, anybody and everybody could have given a heads up. And, sometimes those officials, what they might do is they'll kind of hold it up a little bit. They'll see it and they'll just hold it up. And like you said, and mention, just to buy you 30 seconds of time. No one did. And boy, did it come back to get him.
Before we do go forward, I want to get into Illinois and Houston. I mean, that was a rock fight. And Illinois doesn't play that way. Illinois likes to shoot threes. They like to score points. I credit Underwood for being able to beat Houston at their game. I don't think anybody before the game said, if this is low scoring and it's a rock fight, that Illinois can win. I give them a lot of credit last night for winning at Houston style, Jason.
Yeah, really good point. It was 24-22 at halftime, and then they kind of escaped. They let Houston hang around in a half that they had no business being in the game even that long. Houston really, really struggled. We talked about size with Arizona. Illinois is the tallest team in the country. They're even bigger than Arizona. So they're huge, but they're not, like you said, Mark, they're not that physical. They don't usually play that physical. At times when they went to Purdue, they gave up close to 100 points. They just don't guard the way a lot of the elite defenses have been. And boy, did they guard. I actually thought one of the key pieces in the game was actually Boswell early in the second half getting in foul trouble. So he's their senior guard, been there forever. He actually, when he leaves the game, then Wagler, their talented, uber talented freshman, actually was ball dominant, and they got a lot better shots when he was ball dominant. And if you think about their season as a microcosm, their best stretch of the season was when Boswell was out. And so they were able to get shots on Wagler's terms, and he was able to get a lot of shots. That's actually when they ran away from Arizona. When they put Boswell back in, Houston came back. So a little subtle thing, but Illinois brought the physicality that they traditionally have not had defensively this year.
How does Iowa match up with them?
Well, what I was going to do is I think quite well. The first game was 75-69, and that was at Iowa. So Illinois beat Iowa by 6 at Iowa early in the year. But I'll say this, the pace is going to be so slow that Illinois is not going to get the shot volume that they traditionally get, and that can really frustrate teams. I think it can be close. I think Illinois ultimately, their size and physicality inside, if Illinois stays patient and they continue to get the ball inside, I think Illinois beats them, but I think it should be pretty close.
Jason, I took Michigan State and UConn off the board because it's a 1.5 point spread. Of the other 3 games, Tennessee, St. John's, Alabama, who do you give the best shot to pull off an upset tonight?
I'm going to go St. John's because it's Rick Pitino. I think if we zoom out, I think the Tennessee matchup is a tough matchup. Tennessee commits a lot of turnovers, and Iowa State is the 4th best team in the country at creating turnovers. I think that the Iowa State Tennessee matchup is tough for Tennessee. I think Iowa State's going to win the game handily. I think Michigan, when they're healthy and they're focused, is as good as anybody in the country. Obviously, Duke is phenomenal, but Rick Pitino has shown that he's figured out ways to do it, and he had four or so days to do it. So I'm going to go with St. John's. St. John's is going to have to make threes. They're not a great three-point shooting team. They're the 218th in the country at making threes. Their only path, though, they're going to have to make some of them. Their guards are going to have to shoot the ball a little better than they have all year to have any chance. But I think I'm going to go with Pitino because I worry about Tennessee, and Alabama defensively had their game of the year against Texas Tech. When Alabama played Texas Tech in the last round, they held Tech, a very good offensive team, to about 34%. So can Bama bring that defensive intensity again against Michigan? I don't think so. So we'll go St. John's over Duke.
Can St. John's score enough, though? I mean, or do you think they're going to play at a Siena-like pace?
Yeah, I think they're going to slow down. They're going to go rock fight. Like you said, like you guys mentioned earlier, they're going to go rock fight, slow the game down, try to keep the game in the 60s. That's their only path. Once the game, if you kind of keep track of it, if it's trending and on pace, towards the mid 70s or upper 70s, St. John's can't get there. They're not going to be able to get there against Duke. So they're going to have to slow the pace, make some threes, kind of turn it into a grinder, and hopefully beat them 65-62.
I'm a Michigan State grad. I don't think they win tonight. I think UConn's athleticism down low. Michigan State's good defensively, but the 2 big guys are not super athletic, and I think UConn can dominate in the paint. Tell me if you think I'm wrong in how Michigan State wins this game if they can, because I like UConn.
We'll make a friendly wager. I'll go with Michigan State. I'll take Izzo in this one, and here's why. When you dial it down to kind of statistics, and these teams are literally almost identical to the nose. Michigan State has the 23rd best offense in the country. UConn is 30. Michigan State has the 13th best defense. UConn is 11. It's like they're built identically. But I'll say this, Michigan State is a much better three-point shooting team than UConn. Now, Michigan State has not been able to throw the ball in the ocean from 3 over the last couple of years, but this year they can. They can make some threes. So I will say this, Michigan State's path is threes. That's where the difference is. That's where the delta is. They've been better at it all year. If they can make some threes, they're going to win. I actually like Michigan State just by a touch in this game.
Do you think UConn will give them the looks, though?
I don't know. They're not going to get the looks that they traditionally get. But I will say this: UConn has been inconsistent at times this year offensively as well. Like UConn's no bargain offensively. I think fears, like we always talk about in March, senior guards matter. And yes, UConn's got a lot of good experienced players, but Fears has been such a great player this year for them, and he's so ball dominant. I think they're going to get some looks. I really do. I really do. Michigan State can pound inside a little bit. Maybe they can work inside out. It's going to be it should be such a close game, but there's no reason why Michigan State couldn't pull it away with some shot making.
I think free throw shooting is a big thing too. State has an edge at the line over UConn, so that will be interesting. Right now, you mentioned Arizona, you mentioned Michigan. It still seems like, and I know they're going to have to play one another if they get through. Do you think they both get through? And when we talk next week, it's Michigan and Arizona in the Final Four.
I do. Arizona is just such a handful. Iowa State is an incredible challenge. It'll be an incredible challenge for Michigan because they can generate turnovers and they can really shoot the ball from the perimeter. But I think so. I think those are the two best teams on that right side of the bracket.
All right, 60 or so seconds. Who should North Carolina hire?
I'm gonna go with Vandy's coach, Bennington. I'm gonna go with him. I'm gonna go with Vandy's coach. He can recruit in that area, right? He came from James Madison. Obviously been successful at Vandy. His game plans are tremendous. He can recruit in the portal. He's not a Carolina person with ties to him, but I'll go with him.
All right. Jason Carmello, talking hoops. All right. Big Underdog blog. All right. Big Underdog blog. Also, he's part of Bustin' Brackets. Follow him on X at Big Underdog blog. Hey, thanks for doing this. Go get the kids off to school and, enjoy your weekend. We'll talk next week.
Okay. Sounds good. Thanks, guys.
Jason Carmello. Outstanding. Breaking down hoops. First, who should be in, and then who should win and why.
Giving my Spartan team a lot of hope. Betting me, I can't lose. I literally can't lose right now. I feel great.
You lose a few shekels, your team's through to the Elite Eight.
Exactly.
And if you win, you get to say, see, I was smarter than the expert.
But he is right. Statistically, they are mirror images of one another. And he pointed out the two areas that Michigan State is a little better. 3-point shooting, and I said the other one, free throws. It's one of our two poll questions. Michigan State didn't make it because it's a 1.5-point game. Best shot for an upset. Tennessee, Alabama, St. John's. And it's International Whiskey Day. So how do you drink your whiskey? Neat, on the rocks with the mixer, or I don't drink whiskey. Those are your choices. That Mark Miller, the David Moulton, Miller_Moulton on X. We will switch gears and talk the National Football League with Pat Kirwan. He's next. And Kyle Sielaff also in the 8 o'clock hour to talk Florida Marlins.
American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs and has been for 30 years. American Paint Supplies is also your #1 Festool dealer in Southwest Florida. If you are a builder, cabinet maker, painter, or power tool enthusiast, Festool craftsmanship can be found at American Paint Supplies. Celebrating 30 years of service, and Festool is celebrating 100 years of excellence. Come to American Paint Supply for a perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street, Naples, off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Let's talk the big differences between Floormeisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floormeisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floormeisters backs their installer. So if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floormeisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floormeisters in Naples. Floormeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and
CBA
sound.
Commissioner Adam Silver will visit Lee County in April as he is recognized by the Edison Awards as their Achievement Award honoree. His recognition not only highlights his leadership within professional sports, but also his broader influence on business, technology, and social responsibility. The Edison Awards recognize thought leadership from around the globe, making Silver's visit a significant moment for Lee County. Visit EdisonAwards.com for event details and tickets. Lee County, building a better community through business, sports, and tourism.
The Cape Coral Police Department is growing and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000 depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to capecops.com, capecops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Morning, Pat.
Good morning, fellas. How are you?
I'm doing great. How you doing?
You sound good.
Thank you. Thank you. We had our buddy Westoff on yesterday to talk about his little honor in the hall. He is just over the moon.
Mike is something else.
He is. Because he's a cancer survivor. So he calls me about once a week to check in, which is incredibly nice of him. But we end up talking ball most of the time. And he called me last week, right after he got the news, to tell me about it. And he was like a school kid. He was so giddy.
Yeah, I think Mike has lived most of his life thinking they don't recognize me for how much I do and what I care about. And
yep.
He's got that little thing about it but most special teams coaches do. Like,
yeah, there's no doubt he's had a chip on his shoulder his whole, you can just tell by talking to him. And I don't even mean it in a bad way, but he's always been his best promoter, and because he doesn't think anybody else promotes him, if you know what I mean.
Absolutely. Do I know? Yeah.
I bet you do.
But I'm a big fan because he does care. He wakes up every morning thinking of something different to do. He doesn't sit down and just say, I know how to coach special teams. He's constantly trying to find a different way to win with special teams. I think his only regret for him is that he never got a shot at a head coaching job.
Yep. And I
that
think
was
he
his
believes
real
if he
passion.
coached, I think he believes if he coached today, he would get one, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
He probably would.
Yep. And he kind of always, I think he worked for enough coaches that he used to sit there in his office, I guarantee, at midnight going, how could that guy be my head coach? Why am I not the guy? He's very good friends with a guy I brought into the NFL, Chris Matura. And he's done a very nice job helping Chris throughout his life. And Chris comes down here to fish with him and everything else still. But, yep, there's a good side to Mike. Sometimes the outsiders don't see it. I'm a big fan.
I am too. He's been, literally, once a week he calls me just to check in to see how I'm doing. And from the moment he found out what was going on with me, he's called once a week because he's a cancer survivor. And he's just, hey man, there's life after cancer. I'm just telling you, do what they say one day at a time. And he's been literally like he's coaching me. It's pretty funny.
No, that's another sport of his, coaching cancer guys. And so his son and my son played together at Penn, and he was going through, I thought they were going to amputate his leg one time.
Right. I didn't he told me the whole story. I didn't realize all the crap he went through and the surgery he had when he had it.
Yep.
Here we go. Oh, no, I'm sorry. We're a minute out.
Good morning, David.
Good morning, Pat.
Yeah. Good to hear your voice.
Is this Westoff we're talking about?
Yes. Big Mike. He's a clown. Now, if you want to get into a funny one, I had dinner with him in Marino a couple times. That's funny. Because Dan never stops a rant. All you want to be is a head coach. How come no one hires you? It's like that kind of stuff.
And it's funny, too, because he loves Dan.
Oh,
he loves him.
Yep. Dan likes him quite a bit. And he always says, come on. I'm having dinner with Westhoff. Come with me. I need someone to listen to him.
All right, here we go.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
We are halfway home in Jacksonville and Tampa St. Pete. We're in the final hour of the show in Southwest Florida, Punta Gorda, Port Charlotte, Venice, Live Oak, Lake City, and surrounding areas. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Couple of poll questions. Check them out. Vote. We always appreciate it. Our next guest is a happy man these days. First off, there's a little lull in his schedule. He has a chance to catch his favorite minor league hockey team. Okay, play 3-4 times every other week. He's very happy about that. And his national radio show got reduced from 4 hours to 3 hours. And as a couple of guys who used to do 4 hours, then did 3, and now are doing 4, boy, do we know the difference. He's Pat Kirwan, NFL Radio's Moving the Chains, 3 to 6, Monday through Friday. And he joins us once again, courtesy of Pinchers, Tampa to Key West, all points in between Pinchers, where you can't fake fresh. That hour off makes a difference, doesn't it?
It does, but I have to tell you, I got to tell the West Coast guys to stop calling the show and saying, get the other 4th hour back. Hey, slow you to roll, fellas. But out there, they're getting in their car and it's over. So it is funny. And they go, no, you need to get your 4th hour back. And I'm thinking, I need you to hang up right now.
And do not call Sirius XM
Right.
and tell them the same thing. That is very important. All right, Pat, I think today is your first mock draft?
Yes, it is. And the first one's easy. And obviously my new partner has not done one with us, but so we just go back and forth, which is always interesting the first time. And he has the odd numbers, 1, 3, 5, 7, etc. And I have the even. Next week, we'll flip it over and it'll be amazing how much the draft changes just by switching the numbers. And we're just trying to make a small example of what happens with 32 teams and why it's hard to figure out what everyone's going to do in a draft. And then after that, we'll get into 2 picks at a time and switching 2 picks at a time. And then trades. I always like when the trades come. That's what I think the fans like, the trades the most. So, and like David likes the NFL more than ever because they trade now.
Totally. I mean, we were 10 to 15 years ahead of the league. That's okay. That's all right. We were also behind the times in many things. Miller and Moulton famously on the record as saying moving the draft to Thursday in prime time, dumbest move ever. Okay. So, take it with more than a grain of salt. Am I supposed to take seriously a couple of the NFL talking heads who used to be quarterbacks who are saying that the Alabama quarterback's better than the Indiana quarterback?
No, I here's what I said yesterday. We'll see if you think of it the way I do. That commentary, which happens all the time, I'll take you all the way back to Peyton Manning, Ryan Leaf. That thing took on a life of its own for the 6 weeks before the draft. To me, it's the official end of free agency. The networks are exhausted and don't know how else to talk about free agency since we're just signing backups and young guys that are just going to be roster maybes. And so what do they have to do to transition? So everyone starts, and I'm going to the owners meeting Sunday. So that was always the line of demarcation for me when I was in it. But it was forcing the draft on everybody right now by coming up with the Mendoza Simpson thing, which was ridiculous. It's not even close. I mean, Mendoza's bigger, more productive, more talented. And I'm not taking any quarterbacks with 18 games, and that's all that kid has. He couldn't beat out Milroe, who was a third-round pick. Mark, give me your help here. The guy ahead of him at Alabama was a third-round pick, and he could not beat him out. Now, how could that guy be a first-round pick with 18 games?
He's not. He may end up getting in the back end of it because someone wants to grab a quarterback. But, the one thing, Pat, you've taught me, I don't know if you taught David. David may have already known it, but the one thing I've paid more attention to is that these NFL people who do this for a living only think every year that there's 18 to 20 guys that are first-round grades, if you will. So if you're taking a chance at pick 20 through 32, well, no one's taking a guy that they think has first-round talent. They just happen to be being selected in the first round. But, Pat, what I wanted to ask you is, I think I've got this right. The Colts, the Falcons, the Packers, the Jags, and the Broncos don't have first-round picks. If I'm missing somebody, I apologize. But I think it's those 5 teams that do not have first-round picks. So when you don't have a first-round pick and you're preparing for the draft, like you guys are doing your mock and you'll start getting into the trades, but you are in the front office. So if you don't have a first-round pick as you're preparing for the draft, are you looking at every trade scenario of, if this guy's available, what do we do to go get him? When you don't have a first-round pick, how much differently do you prepare than when you have one?
Well, there's a lot of things going on there that force decisions. So the head coach or the GM of those teams that you mentioned without first-round picks, are they on the bubble? Are their careers on the line? They're not going to be afraid to give away next year's first-round pick to get a player. If it's a young guy and he's just getting rolling and he's kind of excited about the future, he's gonna be fine with the way we do it. But I think sometimes you watch one or two of those teams who think, I got to win now or I'm out of here, waiting to take a draft pick a year from now. They know that's not going to help them keep their job. So they get motivated to give away stuff. Now, sometimes the owner will get involved, and he's looking at that coach going, I should have fired the guy last year, but I'm giving him one more shot. But I'm not going to let him sell my picks away, because next year when I'm trying to recruit a head coach, I want to have those picks for him. So that's a big part of decision making. But you start looking at the second round, knowing it's your first round, and you're starting to think about, are we going to get to what we need here? And that can be depressing. And you can sit there, you feel like it's eternity on Thursday, especially to your point, Mark, about the bottom of the first round, where, okay, they're not really first round picks in the sense of grade. So what are you going to do if you see the guy you're targeting in the second round when you have your first pick and all of a sudden someone reaches and takes him? You're devastated by that. So it can be very frustrating, and the wait can seem like eternity.
Is there a position like Atlanta traded back into the first round last year to get an edge rusher? It actually was a good deal for them. He got double-digit sacks. Now he's facing 4 felonies, and he's probably never going to play in the league again. But on the field, he was worthy of trading back into the first round, and he provided a pass rush, a commodity which is desired. Is there a position? Is there something out there that you think is worth trading back into the first round this year, or not really?
Well, I think there's the 4 premium positions: cornerback, no order here, quarterback, cornerback, pass rusher, and left tackle. If you don't have one, or you have an old one and you're getting tired of paying them, and you're starting to think, we need to get the replacement at those 4 spots, then you ask yourself, well, which of those positions is healthy? Well, the quarterback world is not healthy at all. So we can throw that out. The cornerback world has got a couple. The pass rusher world is interesting because a lot of guys think there's 7, 8, or 9 guys that could go in the first round. And that combines outside backers and defensive ends, pass rushers. And I've had guys tell me that they think 9 will go. And I don't know if 9 will go. I think more like 7 will go. But again, back to Mark's point, you get to near the bottom of the first round and you're not going again to the bottom of the second round. You land up getting nervous and taking a guy that you have a second round grade on.
Pat, when you pick fourth for Tennessee, is the
Yeah.
Notre Dame running back going fourth?
He should, in my opinion. We don't have a lot of rare backs, but we very comfortably will say Saquon Barkley, Christian McCaffrey, the kid Robinson down at Atlanta, and maybe even Josh Jacobs. So when we've taken them, they haven't failed us. This guy's the real deal, and I'm doing it. And I would take it. I have pick 4 today, so I will be taking him. I'm pretty sure Jacob Hester's not listening to us right now, so I'm not giving away my pick here, because he'd take him in Arizona just to prove he's on top of this thing. But why would I take him? One, to help the quarterback. They've already signed 18 new guys. This is going to be a complete overhaul. But the one thing that's constant is we need to see growth in the quarterback. And to do that, putting Love behind him is going to be the best chance to get something going. Because what are you going to get? You guys know the coverage stuff. As soon as you have Love behind Ward, you're going to see cover 1 and cover 3 on first down. They are going to play the run game on first down, and that's going to open up the nicest slant route, easy passing game for Ward to start making completions. And I think that kind of stuff really is what you got to be thinking about. How do I help Ward be better? And that's the answer.
All right. Where do we think the floor is for him? He could go as high, most people think, is Arizona at 3, Tennessee at 4, Cleveland at 6. I'm curious if the Commanders would bite at 7. Saints need to replace Kamara at 8, Chiefs at 9. Is the Chiefs the floor for the Notre Dame running back?
Well, I don't think Kansas City would do it because they just signed Walker. So they won't do it. But everyone else you mentioned should be strongly considering him. He will not get out of the top 10. There's no way. And again, that position group has got a nice blend of second and third rounders. The kid from Washington, Coleman, like him, the second kid from Notre Dame, the 2 kids from Penn State. I like the second and third round, but there's only one first round running back, and he's going to go in the top 10. And that Kansas City would not be the place. Now, I will say this. Kansas City, if that guy's still on the board when Kansas City's picks come, and here comes David's game, someone's calling Kansas City to swap out maybe 2 or 3 spots to get him. And Kansas City should do it.
Like the Cowboys. I mean,
yes.
I know Jared's talked defense, but that's where I was going to go. And the Saints aren't picking him either. They selected ETN, or they picked up ETN in free agency, so they're not going running back. So 8 and 9 to me are vulnerable spots if he makes it there for someone to trade up and get Love.
Yeah, I like the call on Dallas too, because Jerry has memories of the great teams, and he's constantly trying to duplicate that. And has there been a running back really since Emmett that's been what he was to them? And they'll think this kid is, which I think he might be. He's that good.
Ezekiel Elliott, I think, for a handful of years, but you're right. In the last 20, that he's the only one. He's Pat Kirwan, NFL Radio's Moving the Chains, CBS's NFL Today show. Joining us once again, courtesy of Pinchers, Tampa to Key West, all points in between. Pinchers, where you can't fake fresh.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floor Meisters backs their installer, so if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floor Meisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floor Meisters in Naples. FloorMeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Some rings are beautiful. The Koi rings are unforgettable. April 17th through the 19th, Koi brings their entire collection to the Diamond District. Extraordinary engagement, breathtaking wedding bands, and Koi's newest fine jewelry for spring. Here for one unforgettable weekend. The Legend of Koi, April 17th through the 19th at the Diamond District. Hablamos Espanol.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Now, will your draft be the whole show, Pat, or do you guys get it done in an hour? How long does it take you?
No, we run it through the 3 hours. This is our first time doing it with 3 hours instead of 4, but we take like segment 1, we will not do the draft. Segment 2, we'll do 6 picks. Segment 3, we'll have callers. They'll talk about the picks. And then 4, we'll do 6 more and back and forth. So we had a little rhythm to it, but you know why? Because when you make picks, there's 2 things are going to happen. They're going to call like crazy to criticize the pick or to influence the next wave of picks. and it's fun for them. They go, oh my God, Love is still there. Pick 7's coming up, you know, I like to engage them for that stuff.
I've
love
caught parts
drafts.
of it, but I've never listened to the whole show. I just don't. So I may actually, in what I'm doing today, put it on my phone.
Great.
Because I like listening to you guys. You know, I've not heard your new host yet because I've not heard you. I've been up here since you've changed.
I think you're gonna like him, Mark. He's really good.
Good. I'm glad to hear it. I'm glad you like him, Pat.
He was the only guy I liked.
Me.
Yep. And believe me, I put my foot down about that. And I said, if it's not going to be David Moulton, which I knew they weren't going to do, they were just being an idiot about it. But this kid he did the college station for 5 years.
So he knows the keynote. The draft is right in his wheelhouse then.
It was really perfect timing for his entry to this show, to, right in the area where his strength is. And then he's the voice of LSU. So he's around LSU all the time. Bill Cowher called me yesterday and said, call Jacob and tell him I approve of the hiring. We have the same birthday.
I'm curious what your co-host then thinks about the rapper that is walking on at LSU, 26-year-old wide receiver that's literally has popular rap songs, and he was going to go to Syracuse, and then he backed out of that, and he's now going to try to walk on at LSU.
Well, hope he doesn't get hurt in the first day of pads.
Right.
Because at LSU, at Syracuse, he might have lasted. He's not going to last at LSU.
Boy, I tell you, and I know you don't do college, Pat, but I don't know if you caught Signetti, the Indiana coach. They got the wide receiver Marsh from Michigan State. They got my guy's best player, and he transferred, and I don't blame him, and he's going to Indiana. And apparently the first day of spring practice, he wears gold shoes out. Never got on the field with the shoes. Signetti ripped him apart.
Yeah. We're a team here.
God, I love it.
State. Yeah, he's great. Those are the kind of things I love.
I know you do. He's old. I think I will see. I think, and I'll be curious. I may even ask you that those Indiana receivers that aren't first round guys, I get it. But they made that quarterback look really good with catches. I'm not saying he's not a good quarterback. I'm just saying you've watched film now, Pat.
Cooper.
How many really good catches have those Indiana receivers made for Mendoza? I thought a lot.
Yeah. The kid Cooper's my favorite and Surratt and those guys, but I like Cooper the most. And I sat with him and he's strapped up and he's really serious. And he's kind of one of those guys you'd like on your team. He'll go in the second round. Coops. Yep. You just feel like you're talking to a guy who's a grown man. There's nothing childish about him. I like the little corner at Indiana, D'Angelo. He's a tough ass. He'll be a slot corner. I like the running back who wasn't even invited to the combine, Black. He's a feisty little guy.
I could argue that Cooper catch in the back of the end zone to beat Penn State was the catch of the year.
Yeah.
To be able to control his feet like that.
It's
Wow.
I think he's the same one that caught a couple of those inside shoulder throws that were unbelievable catches as well. You're right on that catch, but I mean, there was no shortage of great catches by Indiana receivers this year.
No, Surratt made a great catch on the back shoulder.
There we go.
He's really good at that.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
Our remaining moments with Pat Kirwan of NFL Radio and CBS's NFL Today show. Pat joining us once again, courtesy of Pinchers. Pat and all our guests, like Jason Carmello last hour and Kyle Sielaff coming up in 15 minutes. Join us on the American Paint Supplies Hotline, your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. All right, a couple league things I want to throw out at you.
Sure.
The Browns are proposing at these owners' meetings that right now when you make a trade, you can only give up draft picks for 3 years. The Browns are saying, yeah, why not make it 5? Which in theory means you could trade away 5 first-round picks. But and the owners are going to consider it. Your thoughts on that?
Well, it's right up your alley. You like action, and anytime I can use more currency to make trades, the more trades I'm going to make. So I'm all for it. Now, it's interesting how the owners are going to see it. I think it'll happen right away if they pass it, and then we'll study what happened to teams, because is the head coach going to be here for 5 years? You know, those are the things. You're giving away real valuable stuff that maybe a different head coach is going to have to deal with. So, but I'm all for it. The more things we do to encourage the kind of stuff we're doing right now, and people get excited about it. We're up to 19 trades in the offseason. Is that right, David?
I haven't kept track, to be honest.
Yeah, so it's a record. We've already had the most, and I thought by now you'd celebrate since it's your passion.
Oh, no, I'm doing the happy dance, but I'm keeping it all on the inside.
Well, there it is. That's what you do when you're reserved and mature like yourself, and you're my idol, bro. That's all.
For the record, you two like it. I hate this idea. Because the NBA's trading picks that are 10 years away, and they're getting rid of their future because of just what you talked about. Coaches are gone. I don't like the idea of a new guy coming in and already not having first-round picks because somebody traded them away to try to save their damn job. The NFL is a perfect system. I don't like this for what it's worth. You guys know more about the league than I do. I will sacrifice this one for you, but I'm telling you, I don't like it.
I'm just going to throw this out there. The reason, Mark, why I'm in favor of it is not just the whole more action. It's like, let's just say if you're Denver calls up and they're picking 30th and you're thinking, well, they're going to be drafting 30th this year. They're going to be drafting really good next year. I want to make a deal where maybe 4 or 5 years from now, I'll take those first round picks because I think that they'll have, even if they're in the middle of the pack, now if I make a deal with the Rams or Denver, I'm basically acquiring glorified second-round picks, and I want to get a really juicy first-round pick out of the deal. That's the only reason why I'm in favor of it.
Yeah, I get it, but you're just betting that they'll start to not be the same team in 3 or 4 years. So I get it. I have no problem with making that bet. I kind of like the idea of encouraging people to make trades, the ones that don't know how to do it, and more guys are receptive to trading, and I think this will help them even more. And I think, who was it, Kevin Demoff? Someone, I think the Rams was talking about, the fans love action, and this is going to add more action to it. I do think after 3 or 4 years of doing it, you'll see people get more conservative and not do it as much. They'll see the burn marks from it, but they'll do it early on. They'll go for it.
If it's done, I hope it's concrete. I hope there's nothing like the NHL and the NBA where if it's a top 10 pick, it goes to the next year. I mean, I hope it's hard and fast and firm if this is something that's put in, because I don't like those caveats in the other leagues for what it's worth. The other big thing going on right now, Pat, we've talked about this, the referees. They're already basically planning to lock the referees out because they're putting rules in case there aren't regular referees. How far apart are these two groups, and how firm's the league going to be? Because we saw how badly the game was officiated when they brought in replacements.
Yeah, so we're 5 months away from putting zebras on the field for preseason games, right? David loves telling us how many days it is, but I'm not worried about that right now. I think this is all posturing and everyone's threatening each other, and at least the union seems like they're verbally fighting back now, but the league knows it's a disaster. Yes, they're putting in that rule. It'll be voted on this week at the owners' meetings. But the officiating is bad enough with the guys we're paying. You never hear any conversations anymore, do you guys, about full-time officials? All the argument is about other things, more money and more stuff for marketing, kind of nonsense stuff like that. But I think they'll get it done because they're not going to cook the golden goose. Here's right to, well, David's in the media. I'm waiting for the big CBS, Fox, those guys to get involved here and go, what are you doing? We're paying for this product and you're going to make us put that product on the field? You're trying to get us to redo our contracts with you now? We're not. If I were the network site, we're not doing anything till you get the referees done. Put some pressure on the league.
Well, the other thing that they could say behind the scenes, and I'll make this quick, is, every official in the booth is a former official on the field. They're in support of the officials that are going to be locked out. So don't think those guys who are very polite right now are going to be polite if we're playing games the first couple of weeks of the season and those officials are horrendous. They're going to rip them because their buddies are sitting home not getting checks. And that's never happened before in network television, but I'm telling you it will. One thing I want to throw out, Pat, apparently they're going to choose at the owners' meetings that Vegas, like we're going to LA this year for the Super Bowl, then Atlanta, then Vegas. That'll be 6 out of 8 Super Bowls out west. What is this league thinking? I mean, seriously, they don't want to come back to Texas. They don't want to come back to Florida. Okay, Nashville's going to have a new stadium. I mean, Chicago and Cleveland pretty soon. I mean, never mind the fact that you keep going out west. The media can't afford it. Okay, I mean, that's why there's less and less people at, the convention there. What are they doing with all these out west Super Bowls?
Yeah, I have no problem with the Vegas spot. It's cheap to fly there, relatively speaking. But the 2 Californias in a row, that's atrocious to me. And I get an earful of what it costs just to send our radio crews out there. To your point, it is like double the cost of other places. Plus, if you talk to the people that do the setup, the sets and everything else, they never stop complaining about the union fees, what it costs to put your set in a radio center. It's everything is so magnified cost-wise, it makes no sense. So your real question is, why are we not in Florida like we usually are?
Yeah. They haven't been in Dallas since 2010. Okay. I mean, no offense. They owe Tampa a Super Bowl because they got the COVID one. All right. I mean, I just don't get it.
Yeah, well, I don't want to get into any speculation, but I have some notions and thoughts about why they do things. And then that'll be left with maybe. I just don't want to say something that it's only an opinion and it's not based on anything, but I look around and I'll say something at the owners' meetings and I'll see Roger and I'll say, Roger, we're flying a lot, bro. When can we drive?
Yeah, I don't think Tampa will ever get another Super Bowl.
Well, here's the So I think you're right about that, because they are quick to condemn a place. Like, if it doesn't go the way they want, and the facilities aren't good enough, and the hotel volume isn't good enough, or whatever, and the cooperation level, whatever it is, they walk away from things. I don't want to go to any cold weather places, please. It's brutal enough. Just as I say to you guys all the time, if the city has palm trees, I'll vote for it, but nothing else.
Well, and that's why I think maybe Mark, Indianapolis has also seen their last Super Bowl for just that reason. And that was, I think, 15 years ago. He's Pat Kirwan, NFL Radio, moving the chains 3 to 6 weekdays, CBS's NFL Today Show. Joining us once again, brought to you by Pinchers, with locations from Tampa to Key West and all points in between. Pinchers, where you can't fake fresh. The TV voice of the Marlins, Kyle Sielaff. He's next on Miller and Moulton.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floor Meisters backs their installer, so if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floor Meisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floor Meisters in Naples. Floormeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512. American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Paula, that's so funny. I almost texted that to him until the final bucket went in. Paula, you got a pen in front of you? I'm going to give you those bands. All right. Dead letter. I'll just type them. I can be nice and type them. What's the matter with me? I apologize, Paula. I've not listened to all of them. I listened to one song by Caroline, very much it's a female lead singer. Or I'm sorry, that's not the female. Yeah, Caroline had a Stone Roses feel to it, to me. Courting, the song I listened to, I liked. But that's about as far as I got. It's funny. Well done, Panda. Okay, fair enough. Good. Thank you, Jake. Good morning, Kyle.
Hey guys, how are you?
Doing great. How are you?
Morning.
Good, thank you.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes before the hour, our run of great guests continues, and he's joining us on a work day. Kyle Sielaff, he's the television voice of the Miami Marlins. Opening day for the Marlins is in a little over 10 hours. They host the Rockies at 7 o'clock tonight. You can follow Kyle on X at Kyle_Sielaff, Sielaff. Well, good morning. Happy opening day. On a scale of 1 to 10, you got to be jacked to about a 34 today, right?
It is my favorite day of the year by far. And I was thinking about it this morning. Jerry Seinfeld has a great quote, who loves baseball. He said, there's two things in this world. He said, there's life and there's baseball, and one thing helps you get through the other. And I think it's a pretty darn good way to sum up baseball, what it means to a lot of people. It's a great day, obviously, for a multitude of reasons. It gives a lot of fan bases to believe and to hope again and think things are going to be different. But I don't know. Baseball is just great, guys. It's just that family tie that so many of us share with moms, dads, brothers, sisters, whatever it might be. You guys get it. It's just the absolute best.
Well, and you know, your point about hope, I went through, I'm a Michigan native. I'm a Tiger. My first team was the Tigers. And when you go through a long stretch when your team is bad, I don't know how excited you are for opening day, but when there's all of a sudden hope and your team maybe has turned the corner, your eyes are a little wider come opening day. And I think with the Marlins, there's a little bit of that. They overachieved last year. This is, if not the youngest team in baseball, one of the youngest teams in baseball. Most of the guys are under 27 years old. There's prospects on the farm. There's hope right now, right, Kyle?
I would agree. And what you us three have been chatting for 3 or 4 years now, and I think the not the anticipation, but the hope and the optimism has cranked up and ticked up a little bit every year. I do. I mean, in relation to us chatting on here, 3 or 4 years ago, things weren't going well, right? And, maybe with a couple of prospects that might pan out and they might be okay. And then they go to the playoffs and then they obviously take a big step backwards. But then Peter Bendix is hired and you kind of start to see the vision, and they made some unpopular deals. And think about Luis Arise being traded when we were in Oakland a few years ago, and everybody went nuts. But one of the guys in the deal was Jacob Marcy, and nobody had any idea who that was at the time. And this kid is your everyday center fielder. You hope for the next decade. Like, he was unbelievable last year. And yeah, I mean, it's about as optimistic. And I generally try to judge a lot of the reaction off of social media, which is quite the place in and of itself. And I like to be on there. But like, it's undeniable that people are really starting to get excited about the vision and like where it's going and the young players, because 79 wins last year for a team that many thought was going to lose 100 was extremely eye-opening. And to see these young men do it over the course of 162 games, I think was very eye-opening. And I think more than anything, people are starting, I think we're all nostalgic in baseball. People see a lot of like 08, not that they went to the playoffs, but I think they see a lot of that team and this team and young guys that everybody counted out. And, hey, they weren't household names. Understandably, they ended up being really good. But people are excited, and I'm excited.
Well, two impressive things. First off, listen, I was very critical when they didn't re-signed Kim Ang and they went with Peter Bendix, and I thought it was going to take a lot longer. He's been very shrewd. They've made terrific deals and yet have gotten better while retooling, which is a staggeringly difficult thing to do.
Yep.
And your team last year was the top 5 team in baseball the second half of the season, one loss wise. Do you think they can pick up where they left off? The young player, especially position players, Kyle, who really came through last year. Well, we need them to be just as good. In theory, we may need them to be better if we want to make the playoffs. Can we just cross our fingers and get a healthy pitching staff? I'm just curious, now that it's kind of what they have in Pittsburgh too. People are maybe expecting a little something. So can they do it when people are expecting it?
Well, my first comment. I wonder how Pittsburgh's feeling this morning after Paul Skeens got knocked out in the Jeepers Creepers. I seen that game yesterday. I'm watching the game, and the reigning National League Cy Young Award winner is on the bench after 2 outs in the first. Opening day is crazy. Now, in all seriousness, I think you ask a great question. I tend to think, and I think a lot of people around baseball would agree, that the sophomore slump can be real. Now, look, this is a day and age where information is basically available instantaneously. The league will start to figure year out. But once you have a full sample size, that second year for a young player can be really hard because you're not fooling anybody anymore. You people know who you are. They know why. They understand you had success, but now they know why. It's because you hit the inside fastballs or breaking, but whatever it might be, they know why you did it. So now how can you make the adjustment when they start to adjust to you? I think that's going to be a very real thing. And I think at the end of this season, you're going to look up and down this roster and say, that's 2 years now. In the first year was fun. The second year was eye-opening because now they're making adjustments to the league and some of the very best. So I think you asked, David, a fabulous question. I've heard people say the team could actually get better this season and win less games. And I think that sounds crazy on the surface, but like I understood directionally like where they were going with that. Nobody wants that, obviously. You don't want to regress. You only obviously want to keep on getting better. But this is a very important year for a lot of these guys. A lot of these guys that had a lot of major league time last year, how do they adjust now? I think it's a great question. I think it's going to be fascinating to watch this play out over the course of the year. There's a couple of top-notch, not just Marlins prospects, but prospects in Major League Baseball that happen to be in the Marlins system that we're going to see this year. The team will probably continue to get younger and younger, and I'm just really excited to watch them.
Hey, look, we know the top of the rotation can be lights out with Perez and Alcantara. I mean, if they stay healthy, we know what they got. To
Yep.
me, it's maybe that third guy. It's Max Meyer. You know, he's first round pick, I think like third overall. And he finally pitched a full season after TJ surgery and a lot of other things. But the ERA wasn't great. To me, if the Marlins are going to be where they were or better than last year, then he needs to continue to get better. Is that a fair assessment?
Yeah. I mean, I think that's a great name to throw out there, Mark, because this is a guy that, you're right, was drafted third overall out of Minnesota in 2020. And even last year, he was injury prone. His first 7 starts of the year were terrific. He was on pace to lead the team in innings pitched, starts, ERA. And then he got dinged up, made 8 more starts or 5 more, and then had hip surgery. And then his season was over. That's been a theme there. And that's not a theme you'd like with young players that you're really counting on to be productive. That's a great name. A couple more. Chris Paddock, who we just picked up. Remember last year the Marlins picked up Cal Quantrill. I kind of put him in the same bucket. I happen to think he's better. Chris thinks this is going to be a career year because of all the innovative things that the Marlins pitching performance department does. We'll wait and see. But if all of a sudden, and you know Sandy and Yuri are going to be good. I mean, last year was crazy for Sandy. Even in the second half, he was one of the top 10 pitchers in baseball. People are forgetting about that. You're fine there. But if Max Meyer is healthy and productive, and Chris Paddock, who's all he's done his whole career is throw strikes, he's gotten crushed at times. He needs to throw more balls, as silly as that might sound. But if he can improve, then you're talking about 4 very reliable arms in the rotation. I think the biggest question mark for this team is going to be the offense. I really do. I just don't know if they're going to be able to slug enough. I think at times they'll have a hard time scoring runs just because the game has it's geared in a way now where everybody looks for instant offense, and it gets these pitchers that are constantly throwing 100 miles an hour, guys. It's hard to string hits together. You guys watch ball. It's just hard, man. Like, these pitchers are better than they've ever been, and you got to hit homers. But we'll see. A ton of question marks. But again, I know I repeat it. Like, it's a huge year for some of these young men that really need to prove themselves.
Kyle Sielaff, the television voice of the Miami Marlins. Marlins hosting the Rockies, 7 o'clock tonight. It's their opening day. Follow Kyle on X, Kyle_Sielaff, Sielaff. I think they need to hold on to Alcantara. Okay, first off, he gives them innings. All right. Secondly, having a young veteran in the pitching room, it can't just be the pitching coach all the time. I really think they need to hold on to him. I think it would be very detrimental to the room if they got rid of him. Do you think he's necessary?
It's a good question. Asking if he's necessary is very interesting. And I think my answer right now is yes, because I don't know if they have anybody else to lean on in that room that's really gone through what he's gone through. But in full transparency, like, if he's really good, and these 2 kids in AAA, Robbie Snelling and Thomas White, are coming up and they're pitching well, guys, and somebody offers you more than you can refuse for Sandy, and you have to do a deal, like, I also understand it. To me, that's savvy baseball. Now, I was the first one last year to anticipate he was going to get traded at the deadline. He was not moved. I thought he would get traded this offseason. He was not. To me, if he is ever traded, it is going to be strictly baseball specific. I don't think it'll have to do with finances. I know a lot of people want to look at that. I really do not, because if it was about that, they could have dealt him by now for peanuts, and they could have just unloaded that contract and got nothing back in return if it was a money thing. So to me, it's not. I think if he's really good, it's going to be a very interesting summer because, well, you know how the starting pitching market is come the trade deadline. People go nuts. I mean, they give up ridiculous amounts of talent for a pitcher. And Sandy has a club option for next year for $22, $23, $24 million, which for top end talent like that is, really not a whole lot. But he is the anchor. He is the backbone of this franchise right now. I think he's very important to have in there right now. But if he gets off to a great start, this team is rolling. They're pitching well. I don't think he goes anywhere. If they're hovering and he's really good, and Thomas White and Robbie Snelling are up here pitching really well, and that's your future, it's a very interesting dilemma. You have a very, very tough call to make, and one I do not envy what you do there.
This division at the top is very good, but once again, we're starting out. The Braves pitching staff's all banged up. We don't know how they come back from that. I really think, and I know it's 162 games, Kyle, I get it. But to me, man, the first 50 games are important for the Marlins. You've got an Atlanta team with a pitching staff that's decimated to start the year. If the things you're talking about are going to happen and the young pitchers emerge and you get a couple of bats, getting off to a great start seems like it's everything to a young team.
Totally agree, because last year was fun because they dug themselves out of a hole. They were 17 games under 500 and had to fight and claw for 2.5 months or whatever it was, or 6 weeks to get back to 500. That's ridiculous. Teams don't do that. Like, even the best teams in baseball, I promise you. I don't know if that'll happen again in the foreseeable future. If you just, I don't care who it is, you're 16 games under 500 in June. Even the veteran teams, they're like, roll over and pet my belly time. Like, this is over. Like, we're cooked. Like, we're not coming back. You're absolutely right, though. Yes, like if they want to get to the postseason, and I'm always hesitant to say that because people start calling me crazy, and I understand. They need a good start. They need that shot of confidence. They cannot be in June fighting for their lives just to get back to 500 to see if that can revitalize them, and then to keep it going for the final 8 weeks. Man, that is hard. We saw that last year, to get back to 500. And as soon as you come out of the deep end to take a little sip of water or take a deep breath, all of a sudden you start getting beat again. It's just too hard. But if they can play really well for the first third of the year and they're 500 or maybe a couple of games over with this pitching staff, I think it'll be eye-opening. I think this will remind a lot of people of the 2023 team, where they're just really scrappy, and that's annoying to play against. When you have young guys in the dead of summer playing teams with a lot of big money players that might be tired, and you're just like, they just beat you on like 5 runs on 12 hits, and they're just a nuisance. I think, that kind of stuff can go a long way. But totally agree with you. First third of the year, very important.
Well, the Braves, with all their pitching injuries, as Mark said, the Nats aren't ready yet. And I think the Mets and Phillies have more question marks than they've had here in the last few years. So a good start could go a lot further than even we think. Kyle Sielaff will be on the call tonight. Marlins, opening night for them, hosting the Rockies in a little more than 10 hours. Kyle, thanks for making time for us, and be well.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. Happy opening day, and I'll chat with you soon.
Kyle Sielaff, follow him on X, Kyle_Sielaff, SIELAFF, the TV voice of the Marlins.
The Diamond District Bonus Hour. We'll finish off the day and the week with that next. Miller and Moulton.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part. The Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to capecops.com.
Today,
capecops.com.
444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe. and sound.
Let's talk the big differences between Floormeisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floormeisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floormeisters backs their installer, so if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floormeister's prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floormeisters in Naples. Floormeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
NBA Commissioner Adam Silver will visit Lee County in April as he is recognized by the Edison Awards as their Achievement Award honoree. His recognition not only highlights his leadership within professional sports, but also his broader influence on business, technology, and social responsibility. The Edison Awards recognize thought leadership from around the globe, making Silver's visit a significant moment for Lee County. Visit EdisonAwards.com for event details and tickets. Lee County, building a better community through business, sports, and tourism.
This is Miller and Moulton.
I hope you got that, Matt. We are on the first 3 hours in the Fort Myers market, but we are not on from 9 to 10. I know there's a couple messages there, so. Yeah, I heard. Thanks, Raj. I appreciate it. I sent a text to someone and somehow that knocked us off. I apologize. I got to just not use my phone during the show. That's on me.
Yeah, you locked up for like 20
Yeah,
or so seconds.
I know. I disconnected my Wi-Fi somehow. I don't know how, but somehow it disconnected. just running a lot of stuff off of Wi-Fi. I'm running all the spots. I'm running the StreamYard. It's just a lot of wear and tear on this computer. When I get back to my house and have a lot better internet, it will be a lot easier. I'll be able to run multiple computers. I'll have a new board, but it's all I can do right now, unfortunately. Oh, it's not Red Dog. It's not technology. It's literally my internet. I don't have a dedicated internet line in the Hope Lodge where I'm staying. So I apologize, everybody.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
And just like that, it's the Diamond District bonus hour, final hour of the show. But since it's Friday, it's the final hour of the week. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. So what are we asking? Whiskey and underdogs? Are that really the focus of our 2 poll questions?
Well, yeah, that is. It's International Whiskey Day. So I went with the whiskey question, and it was actually one of our listeners that gave me the question. And I thought it was decent. None of you are voting, so you don't give a damn, but that's all right. How do you like your whiskey? Neat, on the rocks, mixed with something, or I don't drink whiskey. That gets the most votes, but there are more whiskey drinkers than non-whiskey drinkers, at least out of the 14 of you that have answered the poll question. And of those of you that drink whiskey, you're like me, on the rocks. I always respect the people that can drink whiskey neat. I mean, anybody that drinks warm booze, that's impressive. I mean, it really is, to sit there and say, and I've done it with some really good whiskeys. I've had it where I can just drink it neat. Now I'm not allowed to drink anymore. I will be back. This is not a retirement. It's a sabbatical. I guarantee it. This is merely a sabbatical. Soon as I get the okay from the doctor, trust me, I will have one on the rocks.
This could be the 2005 NHL season, though. This could be what we think we may get next year from Major League Baseball. I mean, this could go right past sabbatical and go to a lockout.
Oh, it's going to be 14 months bare minimum.
Right.
It's bare minimum, because I was told I cannot drive after I had my bone marrow transplant, that I was told 2 years. That's from February. Now, the nurses who I listen to, maybe a touch more than the doctor, because I'm with the nurses more. I was in getting magnesium a couple of weeks ago, and the one nurse was talking about drinks. And I'm like, oh, really? And we got into this long conversation about he makes his own ginger beer, and we're going through all this stuff. And I'm like, yeah, one day I'll be able to drink again. He goes, probably a year. He goes, you can't go nuts after a year. He goes, but I'm telling you, you can talk your doctor into having a drink or two after a year.
Ooh, well then, since it was February, you're 15 months to the 2027 Kentucky Derby. Okay. That would be cool if you could sip a drink on Derby Day in 27, wouldn't it?
It would be. It would be. And I quit drinking in December because I had to, they gave me the kibosh long before I came to the hospital. They said, I remember the email vividly from my doctor's chief nurse. And she said, here's what you got to do. And it said no drinking. And I emailed her back. Does that mean now? And that was literally the no drinking thing. Do you mean like today? And I got an all caps response. You need to quit drinking now. And I went, okay. I mean, it's if it's life or drinking, I'm going to go with life. It's a very easy choice.
I agree.
It truly is.
I agree.
And
but
I've been stunned that I haven't really missed it. But
I feel confident though, and feel good for you. You will sip a drink before we see baseball in 2027. I feel good about that.
Oh, for sure. You can write that down.
Yeah. So
In fact,
there you go.
Well, there is no doubt, because first off, we're not playing baseball in March of 27.
Oh no, well, listen, I know Lee County didn't want to hear it, but no, listen, not just Lee County, Sarasota, Bradenton, Port Charlotte, okay, up in the Tampa St. Pete area, and Clearwater and Dunedin, and no, it ain't happening next year, baby.
It's not.
Ain't happening.
If somehow, by some miraculous way, that they complete a 162 game season next year, there will be a 2 to 3 week spring training at the ballparks that the teams play in.
Yep.
I mean, because they're not, pitchers and catchers aren't reporting in February. It ain't happening.
No, go back and look at 95. They started just a little late. There was no spring training, but they gathered each team. Some gathered near their home ballparks around the country. Some gathered at their spring training place, and they quickly worked their way into some semblance of shape. And then, like, second, third week of the season, they started playing again. But no, it's not happening.
It's just not.
Nope.
The other poll question we have today is best chance for an upset. Right now, no one cares about that question either. And I mean, no one cares.
Okay.
This is the lowest vote we've had in a month on 2 questions. But St. John's getting 2/3 of the vote, Tennessee getting a third, and not one of you have picked Alabama to beat Michigan. I do want to go back to something I said, because I didn't get a chance to finish it when we were talking to Pat Kirwan. And I know we're on in Tampa and Jacksonville mainly right now, other than those that are streaming the show. I said Tampa's never going to get another Super Bowl. Now, there may be a time in which they get a new stadium, and then they would get a new Super Bowl. It is not because they don't deserve a Super Bowl. I want everybody in the Tampa market to understand how much I've enjoyed my time up here, even though I've been between the Moffitt Cancer Center and the Hope Lodge. This city is awesome. Awesome. The work that has been done on downtown since the last Super Bowl is amazing.
Yep.
There is a vibrant downtown. This city deserves another Super Bowl. I'm telling you right now. There's far more to do here than there ever was before. And I get it's not LA, but it's so spread out when they do a Super Bowl. I'll tell you what, right now, it's better than Santa Clara, and it ain't close.
Oh, my goodness.
It ain't close.
No, that was a joke. And they put 50 and 60 in Santa Clara. I mean, monumental Super Bowls. It's awful.
So I want the people of Tampa that are listening to understand. One, I'd move to your city tomorrow. I would sell my house, pick up everything, and move here tomorrow. I like this so much better than where I've lived for the last 25 years. It ain't close. I love how much there is to do. I love that you can go to all these fabulous restaurants. And no offense, Naples, Florida, you're not having to pay a mortgage payment to go out to dinner to eat much better food. There is so much to do here. There's a great food scene. There's a great bar scene. The hockey team's done an amazing job. The baseball stadium's going to come over by where Ray J is. It's going to be perfect. I mean, it's a 3-sport town. And when the baseball team comes to Tampa, they're going to draw. I do believe that they will. The hotels in downtown are better than they were the last time there was a real Super Bowl here, because the COVID one doesn't count. Now, I'm not moving to Tampa because I've got a daughter that's in middle school, and we're going to commit to her through getting through high school. And then after that, I may be gone out of Florida, period. But I would move to Tampa tomorrow, like literally. Yeah, they've got traffic problems. They got them in Southwest Florida, too. And Southwest Florida has half as many people and nothing to do. So I want Tampa to understand that I'm not knocking Tampa by saying that.
No,
I just don't believe the NFL is going to give them a game.
Right. You think the league is done giving Tampa Super Bowls. I think they owe Tampa one. Doesn't necessarily mean they're going to honor it, but I think they owe Tampa one. And Tampa seems to be the silver medalist, Mark. Okay. Whenever there's 2 cities competing for a Super Bowl, Tampa oftentimes finishes second. So I don't know. My thought is sometime in the 2030s, the NFL, and they're not going to say this out loud, but they're going to let the Tampa Sports Authority know this is probably your last one. Okay. And this is to make up for 2020.
But if they were ever get a new football stadium, then I think that they could be on the rotation. This city is growing quickly. It's a bigger market every damn year. Nashville's going to get one when they get a new stadium. And you know what? Nashville deserves one. Nashville's become one of the best tourist cities in America. You've got Vegas and you got Nashville. I get it. But going to Cleveland? Come on. Indianapolis? Are you serious right now?
Well, I think Indy is the big loser in the NFL's new wave of thinking in terms of not wanting to go north anymore. I think Indy's going to be lucky to hold on to the combine, to be honest with you, for as long as they can hold on to it. I don't think Indy's going to get Super Bowls anymore. Also, Mark, think about it. If the Bears do build, particularly if they build it in Arlington Heights, okay, and it's got a roof, I don't see how Indy ever gets a Super Bowl again. That if they're going to go to cold weather, they'll go Chicago. And that would probably be it. But, I said it earlier, I'll say it again. They haven't been to a Super Bowl at Jerry's Place since the 2010 season. I never thought they'd go 15 years once he built that stadium and not have a Super Bowl there. Just for capacity alone, I thought they'd go there every 10 or 15 years. They want Miami to be one of the 5 or 6 on the rotation. Okay, so that's another thing Tampa has to compete with. But it seems, Mark, as if LA, whenever they settle on a rotation, LA and Vegas are going to be part of the rotation. I think Miami's going to be part of it, and I think New Orleans is going to be part of it. Why, I don't know, but they've been married to the Super Bowl there for nearly 60 years.
Yeah, I think it's history. It's same thing with Miami to a certain degree, because Miami's a mess to have a Super Bowl in from where hotels are and the travel. They try to do some stuff in Lauderdale and some stuff in Miami.
Yeah.
Santa Clara is an absolute joke of a place to have one. New Orleans is one of the hardest cities to travel to of any, Jacksonville's harder. Green Bay's harder. But outside of those two, David, Kansas City's not very easy. But New Orleans is difficult. Really, really difficult to get to. Not a lot of direct flights. So I'm with you, but they're on the rotation. New Orleans is going to be on the rotation. It may be historic, but they are in.
Buffalo's not going to get one because they didn't cover it. I think Cleveland will get one when they cover it. They'll throw Cleveland a bone. They'll get one. They do it to everybody. They did it to Jacksonville, and Jacksonville didn't have enough hotel space and had to put people on ships.
But because of that mistake, I wondered, is Kansas City going to get one? They're getting a dome.
I think the Clark family has enough sway with the league that they'll get one.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
I'm with Pat. Unless there's palm trees, what the hell are we doing? Miller and Moulton, the Diamond District bonus hour. I am going to honk David off next.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Let's talk the big differences between Floormeisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floormeisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floormeisters backs their installer. So if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floormeisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floormeisters in Naples. Floormeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
This is Miller and Moulton.
In Yinzer, that's a good point. We didn't even put them in the list because Atlanta will get more Super Bowls, though. They like Atlanta. And I have no problem with Atlanta. Atlanta's a good central place to have a Super Bowl. I know they've had weather problems there before, but
Yep, they like Atlanta. They like Houston. I mean, I wonder if the six if they were to ever settle like the British Open. Okay, I wonder if the six would be LA, Vegas, Houston, New Orleans, Miami, Atlanta, with Phoenix with their hand in the air going,
yeah,
why
I
not
think
us?
Phoenix would get it before Houston, David.
Okay.
They like Phoenix. I know
they do.
And will Nashville end up superseding Atlanta going forward?
I don't think so. I don't think this infrastructure. I think that'll hurt them.
I'm glad, Deadstroke and Javier, you liked my little takedown of Naples prices because they're ridiculous.
Ambient, they'll get one. They'll, the NFL's pretty good. The Vikings built a new stadium, with a roof. They gave them a Super Bowl. I mean, Detroit built a new stadium with a roof. They gave them a Super Bowl. You build a stadium, even in a cold weather city, you put a roof on it, they give you one.
I actually think, even though I've never been to Denver, I think Denver, because it's not the freezing cold, it's a different cold than New York, totally. Or Cleveland or Chicago for that matter. I think Denver would be a pretty interesting city for the Super Bowl.
I don't think there's enough to do downtown, personally, but.
In Denver?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, but remember, Detroit had the one in the Silverdome. Then they had the Steelers Seahawks. Have they had another one?
Did they have two in the Silverdome or just the one, right? San Francisco and Cincinnati in the Silverdome. And then they had the Pittsburgh-Seattle one at Ford Field.
Right. I don't think they've had another one.
I think you're right.
Minneapolis, the Metrodome had Bills, Redskins. And then the new place got Chiefs, Eagles, Patriots. Yeah. I'm just shocked at this 6 out of 8 in the Pacific time zone. I mean, 2 LAs, 2 Vegases, a San Francisco, a Phoenix. I mean, geez. Okay. In an 8-year period, not a 10, 11, 12. Damn.
When they did not, when they've had Super Bowls here in Tampa before, there weren't enough hotels. It was like, even when we came up, we had to stay at someone's place. The hotels, there was very few, but Tampa has if you've been around here, they've built so much in the last 5 years, even the COVID one since then. I mean, this downtown's just full of cranes and new buildings going up.
But I mean, Tampa got the, Redskins Raiders, which was the 83 season, Giants Bills, the 90 season, Giants Ravens 2000, the Steelers Cardinals, the 2008 season. And then they got the 2021. And unfortunately, they couldn't get the economic impact that they wanted. But I mean, if you think about it, they were getting, it was a steady 25-year run of, let's give them a Super Bowl. I think it'll be London, Red Dog.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Good, bad, and ugly. What's on tap? Today was the day when. Some final thoughts, a pick or two, all coming up here on Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Well, you got my attention heading into the break.
Well, David, there are certain things that really upset you. Me bashing baseball, I'm not going to do that here.
Okay.
Me getting on you about a cheese tray, I'm not going to do that here either.
Okay.
It's an old joke, but it still makes me laugh.
Yes. And you're exaggerating the facts, which bothers me, but okay.
Me calling your University of Scranton something different. Not going to do that here.
Right. Scranton CC, although I will say it's funny. Okay.
Not going to do any of those things here.
Right.
But to me, David, there is one thing that honks you off in the sports and entertainment world more than anything else.
Huh.
David, when I tell you what it is, you're going to instantly agree with me. It's exorbitant charging for parking at events.
Totally. Might be my number one pet peeve in the world.
Have you seen the gouging they are doing in the Steel City for the draft for parking?
No.
It's going to cost people up to $200 to park for the effing draft.
Oh, that seems excessive.
They have premium hospitality and lounge access available for $700 to $1,250 for the draft.
Could you help me out here? Where in Pittsburgh are they having it? Are they having it like inside the stadium?
No, they're having it at it's at Point State Park. Right, that point that you see, beautiful area where the rivers come together. I think it's going to look amazing. But apparently there's a casino pretty close to there. They're charging over $100 to park for the draft, either day one or day two. Now, the draft, I believe, is free to get into. It's a first come, first served basis. So the tickets, if you want to go see the draft, doesn't cost anything. The hotels downtown, of which there are not a lot of. I mean, Pittsburgh, they could never have a Super Bowl, even if they have a dome. They don't have the hotel rooms downtown to support it.
Agreed.
They're charging over $400 a night to get anywhere near downtown. Now, the one good thing that Pittsburgh has is they do have a good public transit system. So you can take the train into downtown. But when I saw what they were charging, what these places are charging to park. Now, the only time, and I've never driven to a Steeler game. I've always taken the train down. There's a train station that is maybe a half mile from my mother-in-law's place, and it takes you right downtown. It's easy. It's simple. It's less than a 1 beer walk from my mother-in-law's house to the train. Can't have beer on the train. When I went with my wife to my first Steelers game, she parked in her friend we met in a not so nice area of Pittsburgh near the stadium. There was a man by the name of Junebug who was wearing a Ben Roethlisberger jersey who they paid to watch their car for him. I think I've let you in on the neighborhood we were in.
Right.
Junebug ran his block. It was everything about that. And I know you love that. You're happy to give Junebug $20 to watch.
Totally. I might have given him a little more just because he's Junebug.
We gave Junebug, well, they gave Junebug money and access to the cooler while we were at the game. But I don't know if Junebug's working the draft. And I don't know if you're going to want to park in the Hill District at night. I don't. But what they are charging for parking downtown is highway robbery. Robbery.
Well,
and I hope it doesn't bite them in the ass too bad, because I think this is going to be a great draft location, and they're never getting a Super Bowl. And I disagreed with you earlier this week. I think Pittsburgh could be, a regular stop for the draft. If you do, like these cities that can't have a Super Bowl, I think they're going to be regular places where, Detroit was an overwhelming success. And I think this is the throwback to the Buffaloes and the Pittsburghs and the Detroits. And after Cleveland gets their one, if they get their one. But you can't go gouge the fans like this.
No.
And I don't know what the NFL can do about it because it's not their parking lot.
So it's $200 if I want to park at Acrisure Stadium where the Steelers play?
Well, there's no parking in Acrisure Stadium. There's just lots. Those aren't, I don't believe those are stadium lots. It's right downtown. If you know what I mean. This is like, when you go to Yankee Stadium, there's no Yankee Stadium parking.
True. Yeah, that's okay.
There's no Wrigley Field parking. There's no Fenway parking.
Yeah. I have to admit, I anticipated the $400+ hotel rooms. That I did. The parking, though, that's a deal breaker. We're out. I'd be calling around, see if there's somebody who can hook me up. If there's, a Junebug there that can get me $20 somewhere. Seriously, can I park in a drive? Anybody nearby? How much is their driveway? Okay.
But there's not a lot of driveways downtown.
I know that.
But I will say, David, just for future reference, it's Junebug and Juice Box. You kind of combined the two there. I mean, you went to kicking and screaming with parking in the Hill District.
Well, I did go Junebug, but then I was unsure. I'm like, wait, was it Junebug or Juice Bug? So go both. But I got to make sure I get, one of them will be right. But damn.
Yeah, I knew that would honk you off. And I didn't really want to do that this late on a Friday, but I've been sitting on that, waiting for the right time to bring it up. I will tell you the other thing that I loved, and I mentioned it to Pat quickly. I think Nick Marsh is his name. He was the best player at Michigan State's team. He transferred to Indiana. I'm not doing this from a Michigan State standpoint. I'm doing this to love on Kurt Signetti some more.
Oh, yeah.
So Marsh is this hotshot, one of the top transfer receivers in the country. He chose Indiana. Good for him.
Yep.
I don't blame him a bit. First spring ball practice, Nick Marsh decides, I think it's Nick, has gold shoes on as he's going to practice.
Right.
Kurt Signetti tore him a new one. And then when asked about it, explained, well, I don't think that happened to him too much at Michigan State, but he was in for a rude awakening here. I didn't like that one bit. I love Signetti. I mean, he's the football version of Bobby Knight for Indiana. It's unbelievable. Unapologetic, and he just wins.
By the way, what if we start to have, think about it. Danny Hurley's won 2 of the last 3 basketball championships. We get Signetti, and before that, 2 years before that, we got Harbaugh. I mean, now if this March Madness, say we get an Izzo or a Hurley again.
Look at whoever comes out, really, and I'm not a shyer guy, but if it's, let's just say Duke doesn't come in, you get Patino, Izzo, or Hurley. You think any of those guys are apologetic about the way they get on players?
Right. I mean, maybe it could start a new thing.
The guy at Iowa?
Yeah.
If you're not a certain, don't come here. I mean,
did you hear what the one player said after the game? Hey, when you were down 10, what did he say in the huddle? He said, well, he threw his clipboard down and he broke it, and he broke his Sharpie, and ink was everywhere. Okay. And then he told us we all sucked and we weren't tough enough.
Sampson doesn't do the halftime interview. They asked the player, he only had 3 words for me. What did he say? Did he have more? Yeah, he had a few more words for us. Miller and Moulton, the good, the bad, the ugly. Today was a day when, and what's on tap. We'll finish the week out next.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to CapeCops.com. CapeCops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape. Let's talk the big differences between Floormeisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floormeisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floormeisters backs their installer. So if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floormeisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floormeisters in Naples. Floormeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 1332512.
This is Miller and Moulton.
It's a great call, Yinzer. They would, I mean, but Narduzzi's a hard ass too. It just didn't work. And I don't think they have any money there, Yinzer. You could correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think they're, that's another one. Obviously, it's been years since they got rid of the stadium on campus, but I don't think playing downtown works for Pitt. And I don't think they'll ever have an on-campus stadium. You could stop me there if you know something differently, but my wife's cousin played for Pitt. He's a little bit older, about 10 years older than I am. And he still loves them. I think he just dropped his season tickets, but that's his team. Like when I talk to him, he's talking about Pitt, and it doesn't matter the sport, basketball, football, wrestling, whatever they have. I mean, he lives and breathes for the Pitt Panthers, women's sports. And I don't know if they ever will, Yinzer. That's a tough. I mean, if I were to invest in Pitt athletics, I'd invest in basketball before I'd invest in football. I've forgotten. I think I had read it when I was much younger, but I watched that Soul Power, the ABA doc. I didn't realize that the Pipers won the first ABA championship. And there were quite a few people at the Civic Arena celebrating that championship. I did a roller hockey game in the Civic Arena. Worked some big boy buildings with that silly roller hockey crap. Brendan Byrne Arena in Jersey, the Civic Coliseum, the Odd in Buffalo, the was it the St. Louis Sports Arena? Where the Checker Dome in St. Louis, and then the Forum in Montreal. I mean, just unbelievable buildings. Target Center in Minneapolis, I believe. I think we did the Target Center. I think that's where they played. I was in and out of that town so fast I barely remember it. I don't even count Minnesota as a place. I mean, I count it in states I've been because I spent the night, but I flew in, spent the night, did a game, and left the next day. It was like going to Wisconsin. You buzz in, you buzz out. They were good at one time. That my mother-in-law went to Duquesne. She talks about them going to the NIT when she was there.
Welcome to the bonus hour, brought to you by Jason and Todd at the Diamond District. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes to the top of the hour. This is it for us today and this week. Missed any part of today or any other show, go to millerandmoulton.com and download what you missed.
Well, let's get after it. Since the week's almost over, let's end this sucker, huh? What do you say?
Okay.
It's that time again, nearing the end, but not quite there yet. Here's Mark Miller with Today Was the Day When.
Hate it when I do that. You know, I did bring the second monitor in to do this, and it popped up on the monitor that I need to look at you. I didn't fix it last night when I was doing my work. All right, lots to get to today. None of it's that important, but lots to get to. We start in 1513, David. We go way back in the Wayback Machine. Ponce de Leon first sights Florida today in 1513.
Okay.
1794. G-Dub, as I like to call him. You call him President Washington. Establishes the Navy. 1866, Andrew Johnson vetoes the Civil Rights Bill. It would later become the 14th Amendment. I looked and couldn't find them, but today in 1879, it was the longest championship fight. I don't know who fought. I don't even know where they fought. I just know it was the longest championship fight. I'll let you play at home too. David, how many rounds do you think it went?
Ooh, longest fight. 50?
136 rounds.
That seems like a lot.
Now I'm thinking they were 1 minute rounds back then, but that's still what, 40?
That's
46-ish?
45.
45, 46, yeah.
45 rounds, yeah.
1939, the first NCAA basketball championship. Oh, it was not much of a game. The Ducks take down the Buckeyes, Oregon, 46, Ohio State, 33. This is a comeback. Today in 48, Billie Holiday, 11 days after being released from prison, plays a sold-out crowd at Carnegie Hall. That's a comeback. Singing in the Rain premiered today in 1952. I don't go Academy Awards often, but when I do, it's for something special. Like today in 73, The Godfather wins Best Picture. Brando wins Best Actor, but declines the Oscar for Hollywood's portrayal of Native Americans in film. He turned it down.
Now, I will say he let him know about 3 months early.
Now, they still voted for him, and he still didn't accept it.
Right.
Mount St. Helens becomes active after 123 years today in 1980. I don't think it blew for like another 3 weeks, right? I want to say it was April when it burst.
But it was a huge story, you know.
Every day of the news, right?
Right. It was the CNN didn't come about until June. And so, yeah, the 6:30 newscasts were just leading with it every day.
Yeah. Ozzy released his first solo album today in 81, Blizzard of Oz. It's pretty good. It really is.
Yeah, his first few were pretty good.
Today in 84, after a year of sales, the company that invented Hot Pockets received a registered trademark for one of the worst snacks ever on the planet. Is it Gaffigan that does the whole Hot Pocket thing?
Yep.
It's outstanding.
Yep. Hot Pockets.
Today in 85, I don't know if you remember this, David, but this cracks me up. This is when, we kind of knew wrestling was fake, but wrestling didn't want to admit it was fake.
Correct.
And Richard Belzer is interviewing Hulk Hogan. He has Hogan put him into a hold. Well, Hogan did. And Belzer passed out. He hit his head on the floor. He needed 9 stitches and then sues Hogan for $5 million. They settled out of court. Belzer bought a house in France. Sammy Hagar makes his first appearance with Van Halen today in 1986 when they begin their tour in Louisiana. U2 was the king of the rock world today in 87. And it was today in 87 that they filmed their video for Where the Streets Have No Name by doing a live rooftop concert that ended up getting shut down. They thought they were the Beatles. Men who couldn't get it up were very happy today in 98. Happy birthday, Viagra. And Hal Sutton today in 2000 goes wire to wire to beat Tiger at the Players.
Be the right club today.
Kaylee Yarborough would have celebrated a birthday today. Not many birthdays to give you. Quentin Tarantino and Randall Cunningham, they're both 63. Mariah Carey is 57. And Fergie is 51. I'll ask you all the question. In their prime, which one would you have picked? And Buster Posey is 39. What did I miss, David?
I don't think you missed much of anything. I will say I challenged Jimmy Superfly Snuka to the exact same thing that Richard Belzer challenged Hulk Hogan for. It was either late 86 or early 87 because I was working for the CBS affiliate in Scranton, and we were in West Scranton, okay, at a auditorium or what have you. And he was promoting the event, which was to start in an hour. And I basically said, I go, you know, how tough do you have to be? And we did not work this out. He ad-libbed this. He took my microphone, threw it on the ground, and took me and put me in, you know, one of his moves. And it hurt. Okay. And I still had like a minute that I had to fill. I still have my IFB in. They're talking to me. What's going on? Okay. Yeah. How long are you going to do this? And I can't talk to him because he took my mic and he threw it on the ground. All right. But yeah, Superfly did it to me too. No 9 stitches or anything, but he put me in a hold in which I thought, well, it's a little more real than
so you challenged the reality of wrestling to Jimmy Superfly Snuka.
I said to him, I said, hey, if the fans who are going to come out tonight, what is it they're going to see? And so he put me in one of his moves. Okay. And we were in the middle of the ring. Okay. And then he kind of, you know, let go of me and threw me against the ropes. And I came barreling to him. And he didn't hit me up by the head or neck, but he, you know, stuck his arm out middle of the chest and I hit it and went down. Okay. And I didn't fake going down either. I mean, I went down. Okay. And I'm like sucking for wind. And meanwhile, they're in my ear going 30 seconds. I got to, thanks, Superfly.
Time to see life a little bit differently. Here's Mark Miller with the good, the bad, and the ugly. What you got, Mark?
Well, the good takes us to Baltimore in yesterday's season opener for the Orioles.
All right.
Arthur Green threw out the first pitch. Arthur Green is a diehard Oriole fan. He's a veteran of 2 wars. He's 109 years old. Everything about that is awesome. That they found him, that he's actually an Oriole fan, that he's a veteran that served in 2 wars for our country. Are you kidding me? That's not good. It's great. Sorry, I had to give a little love to your Tony the Tiger Bowl there, David.
I understand. Please tell me they like put him in the owner's box for the game. I mean, honestly, I'd put him in the best seat in the house. Where do you want to sit, sir? Right behind
there
home
you
plate?
go.
Where do you want to? You want to be in the dugout? Dugout right behind home plate or in the owner's suite? Which would you?
He
prefer,
may not
sir?
want to sit in the owner's suite, David.
Right. By the way, we wait on you. We wait on you hand over fist. Can I show you the menu in the owner's suite, just so you know?
For the bad, we go to Buc-ee's in St. Augustine. I've actually been there. It's the only one I've ever been to.
I have
Where
as well.
Griffin McCarthy, he's apparently a TikTok influencer. He's also an idiot. But he had all kinds of Buc-ee stuff on his car, stickers and all this crap. He's one of those people. And he's young. And he had a gift card for Buc-ee's. And when he went to get gas, he found out that the gift cards are not for fuel. They're apparently just for Buc-ee's merch. And he had an out-of-body experience and started ripping all the bumper stickers off of his car, kicking the Buc-ee's mascot that he had in his car, and complaining because apparently he only had 10 miles in his tank and $4 in his account. That's on you, dude. If you go to a gas station that's 30 miles from your home and you only have $4 in your account, I don't care about your gift card. You're an idiot.
Yep.
Finally, the ugly. We go to Detroit, where this is an all-timer for me, and not even in a bad way, but it is something. Kimberly Carroll had a hearing in Woodhaven. And apparently she was able to do it in virtual court. Not only was she late for virtual court, She logged on to the video call while driving her car, then lied to the judge and said she was a passenger. The judge said, "How can you be on that side of the car if you're a passenger? Do you think I'm stupid?" Well, she lost and was given the maximum fine allowed by the judge. Good for him. You're an idiot, lady. And that is the good, the bad, and the ugly on today, March the 27th. And it's, as always, brought to you by the Cape Coral Police Department, hiring new officers, offering great pay, a $10,000 sign-on bonus, plus other jobs available. If you're a police officer in Jacksonville or Tampa looking for a new start, CapeCops.com. CapeCops.com.
CBS has the East region. Duke St. John's early, little after 7. Michigan State, UConn, 9:45. TBS has the Midwest region. Bama, Michigan early, 7:30-ish. Then Tennessee, Iowa State late. The winners will play on Sunday, just so you know. NBA, they've got 10 games tonight. Heat are in Cleveland. Hawks and Celtics in Boston once again. Atlanta's red hot. Only 2 games in the NHL tonight. Very interesting. We've had, for as much as they've got to get games in, what's this, the third night this week? We had 1 game on Monday, 2 on Wednesday, and now just 2 on Friday. But one of them's really big, Mark. It's your Wings in Buffalo against the Sabres. Sabres trying to hold off the Lightning and win the division, and your team's out of the playoffs and needs points. And, well, this is a tough team to get them against these days.
Particularly when they blew a third-period lead against Boston earlier this week. Detroit, the game's really not relevant for them. It's just a matter of how many they're going to lose before they choke in another March.
College hockey starts this afternoon. The 2 of the games are on ESPNU. Minnesota State, Western Michigan. Bentley and Michigan are 2:30, 5:30 on the U. Then the night games, Cornell, Denver's on Plus. Penn State, Minnesota, Duluth, the hotshot recruit who may go first overall in the draft. 9 o'clock ESPN2.
Yeah, his draft stock has dwindled all year long.
Yeah,
not just the fight he got in, but there's apparently a bit more of an attitude problem than meets the eye. He's going to have a lot to prove next year in the National Hockey League when he's drafted, David, if he actually doesn't go back to Penn State for another year.
Well, considering he made between $750 and $1 million this year, another year of college hockey might not be bad. 8 baseball games today. Marlins home opener, 7 o'clock tonight against the Rockies. A's and Blue Jays, Royals and Braves also get their season started today. The women's Sweet 16, all 4 games on ESPN beginning at 2:30. 2:30, 5, 7:30, 10. Boom, 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 boom. So UConn in action, UCLA in action, Duke LSU, pretty good 2-3 game. So that's what you got going on there.
Do the Marlins sell out their home opener today?
No.
Do the Marlins win 72.5's their number? Do they go over?
Yes.
But I hope so.
But I don't think that they seriously contend for a playoff spot. I don't think they win 83, 84, 85, etc.
Have a great weekend. We'll be back Monday, 6 a.m.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floor Meisters backs their installer. So if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floor Meisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floor Meisters in Naples. FloorMeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine, no more snoring, no more tossing, no more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
Some rings are beautiful. The Koi rings are unforgettable. April 17th through the 19th, Koi brings their entire collection to the Diamond District. Extraordinary engagement, breathtaking wedding bands, and Koi's newest fine jewelry for spring. Here for one unforgettable weekend. The Legend of Koi, April 17th through the 19th at the Diamond District. Hablamos Espanol.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
PA Commissioner Adam Silver will visit Lee County in April as he is recognized by the Edison Awards as their Achievement Award honoree. His recognition not only highlights his leadership within professional sports, but also his broader influence on business, technology, and social responsibility. The Edison Awards recognize thought leadership from around the globe, making Silver's visit a significant moment for Lee County. Visit edisonawards.com for event details and tickets. Lee County, building a better community through business, sports, and tourism.
This is Miller and Moulton